Al Pacino says that his unconventional delivery of the Best Picture winner at the Oscars was a choice that was made by the producers and not his own improvisation.
Okay.
I think the producer's name was
Jimmy.
Yeah, it was
What
Jimmy.
am I going to do out there?
Pacino clarified that he was told to omit the names of the nominated films because producers felt that the individual film presentations throughout the ceremony had already highlighted them.
So, Nick, that's what you had suggested.
Yeah, and I also heard yesterday that there was supposed to be this reunion with Michelle Pfeiffer. Did you guys hear about
Yes.
that? Okay.
Because they were in Scarface together, and she apparently couldn't make it, but that was the plan, that they were going to have this big... Is Siri chiming in?
Not mine, but I don't know.
So anyhow, so she was
Where's
supposed
Michelle?
to show up there for... Yeah.
And what are you doing?
You with Jimmy.
Yeah, you were hanging out there, and then you were gone.
It's gone.
So he said, I realize being nominated is a huge milestone in one's life, and to not be fully recognized is offensive and hurtful. And I say this as someone who profoundly relates with filmmakers, actors, and producers, so I deeply empathize with those who have been slighted by this oversight, and it's why I felt it necessary to make this statement. I don't think anybody felt slighted.
No.
did they?
It just seemed weird. The one
Yeah,
thing I would have said is, I think you would want to do, and the Academy Award goes. It was like,
Yeah.
This paper says,
My odds say.
It was too damn hard.
Oh, he couldn't do it.
Look at this. It's Oppenheimer, I guess. I don't know. No, you want to do some, hey, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of Best Picture of the Year, Oppenheimer.
It still could have been unconventional, but
Yeah.
a little more exciting.
Look at me. I'm wiping my ass with this.
It's time to stop having octogenarians do this Best Picture.
Probably a good idea.
Where's my melon?
All due respect to Al Pacino because he's one of the greats, but like the Warren Beatty's of the world, the Al
great.
Pacinos, the De Niros, like just have somebody younger than 70 come out.
They brought out Liza one year. Do you remember that?
I do.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And why?
She's
You scared me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just getting warmed up.
How did all these people get in my room?
So the controversy overshadowed the announcement that Pacino will be publishing his memoir.
And the Grammy goes to. No.
Oh, it's the Oscars.
And the Nobel Prize.
He's got a memoir called Sonny Boy that's coming out this fall, by the way. So he was, I guess, going to not
And the
announce,
People's Choice Award.
not announce it right then and there. But, yep. So anyhow,
Hey, well, at least that clarifies it.
but
I didn't think he was being malicious.
I think Nick's right. They need to skew a little bit younger for that final
Or-
award.
Just have them come out there and have someone else talk while they stand there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Al Pacino, he's very old. I'll handle the speaking duties. Thank you. Where's Jimmy?
Kate Middleton took responsibility. This is so funny.
She
that this
took responsibility?
blew up yesterday.
Yeah, it's a weird story.
For a photoshopped image that media outlets published over the weekend. In a social media post, Princess apologized for any confusion caused by the family photo, which showed her surrounded by Prince Louis, Prince George, and Princess Charlotte. She said, like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused. So the image had sparked a little scrutiny due to an odd-looking left hand on Princess Charlotte. The Associated Press issued a kill order on running the photo.
Kill Charlotte.
And the other news agencies followed. The controversy sparked conspiracy theories about Kate's well-being as she continues to recover from a planned abdominal surgery in January. So it was just, she was just tinkering a little bit with the video, or the picture, and people have now made a big deal about it.
And they're demanding that they release the original photo. But I assume what they think is that she's appears ill, and she's not. She simply had this scheduled surgery. So they just want okay.
Well, I think the deal with the photo is that her ring wasn't on.
I didn't read
I
anything
didn't see
about
that.
that.
No.
it was Charlotte's hand.
Yeah, I know, but it was Charlotte's hand that looked awkward, and like the sleeve or something like that was cut off. But in editing the photo, it took the ring off of her finger.
All right, maybe
what
that's
I had
it.
read,
Yeah,
and that was the big deal.
I think also part of it was that Kate Middleton was riding a Roomba, which seemed obviously inaccurate.
But this was the first photo.
Riding a Roomba?
Yeah.
A little...
Yeah.
Just a little
Just seem
vacuum cleaner running around.
like a cat.
Yeah.
This was the first photo after she had the surgery.
Yeah.
And so they, you know, everyone was waiting, and then all of a sudden she supposedly didn't have her ring on.
Do you know what
and
I
that's
think?
what the big deal
Kath,
was.
and if I'm being honest here, I think she now has massive jugs. She got a big breast augmentation.
Oh, she went in for
I think
full-
she got stripper level cans, and it's not healing right.
Did you guys see that Rob McElhenney was hanging out with Prince William last week?
No.
Yeah.
What were they doing?
What?
Not Prince Charles or not King Charles this time. It was Prince William. They were Prince William came to a Wrexham match and they were pouring 4 walls liquor together behind a bar.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
You know that's going to happen. We are never going to. He'll never take our call again.
We'll never hear from him again.
Yeah.
He's hanging out with royalty.
The last thing you want royalty to see is us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can bring in listen, he's been a dear friend, but even I would cut ties with us if I'm hanging around with him.
It's okay. We
Yeah, we
understand.
get it. We completely get it.
And just a few years ago, he did the video for our Radio Hall of Fame induction, and
Which was perfectly effed up. It was so perfect to our show when they did it, Preston. You remember that moment?
they didn't roll the video. And I guess Steve and I look at each other. I'm like, well, I guess we'll do our speech now.
They did eventually.
And then they did it
Yeah,
afterwards.
we're 3/4 of the way back
They're
to
like,
the table.
oh, we forgot.
And then
let's play this now when nobody cares.
You're standing in the audience. I'm standing in the audience like, hey, what do we do?
I know. Well, anyway, good for him. He
Enough
and
of that.
Prince are hanging out together.
That's
They're
right.
best buddies. Christina Applegate is opening up about living with multiple sclerosis, which, of course, she was diagnosed in 2021. She said in an interview with Good Morning America, I live in kind of a hell. I'm not out a lot, so this is a little difficult just for my system. But, of course, the support is wonderful, and I'm really grateful. She received a standing ovation at the Emmys in January when she appeared on stage with a cane as a surprise presenter.
She was terrific.
The actor admitted that she, quote, kind of blacked out in that moment. She said, people said, oh, you were so funny. And I'm like, I don't even know what I said. I don't know what I didn't know what I was doing. I got so freaked out that I didn't even know what was happening anymore. She said, I felt really loved, and that's a beautiful thing. Jamie Lynn Sigler accompanied her in the interview. Now, Sigler herself was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when she was 20 years old. The two are now hosting a new podcast called Messy together, and it's spelled M-E, capital S-S-Y, so MS
Yes.
is highlighted in
Wow.
that. And that's what they're talking about. I didn't know that about Jamie
No,
Lynn
did not
Sigler.
know that.
Multiple sclerosis is a disease of the central nervous system. It disrupts the flow of information between the brain and body, and the immune system attacks the body's nerve linings, producing unpredictable symptoms, including pain, fatigue, or even paralysis.
Yeah, remember when she was filming Dead to Me and some of those episodes aired, she changed, her appearance changed drastically on the show, and everyone was like, what is, and I watched it and I was like, what is going on? And then there were scenes where she had no shoes on, and she eventually addressed it, and it's because her
Too
feet,
painful?
Yeah, it's too painful, and she just got her star on the Walk of Fame, and she didn't wear shoes that day either.
She's been through a hell of a lot. She's had the double mastectomy in anticipation. You know, she had a potential encounter with that runs in her family. She's had all sorts of health issues, but she's awesome, man. I mean, she's... who would have known that Kelly Bundy was
Right?
as competent a comedic actress as she turned out to be?
Yeah. That's like on Third Rock from the Sun.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah,
I mean, who would have thought
Oh,
the
yeah.
kid on that show
Is so effing
would be
good.
such a great actor, and every now and then they pop up like that and
Wow.
they transfer over to film.
Jake Gyllenhaal in City Slickers.
Yeah.
Crystal's kid.
Yeah. This story I didn't get a chance to get to yesterday because we had the Oscars to talk about, but Millie Bobby Brown is not here for the comments about how her accent has changed as she has spent more time in America. The Stranger Things star sat down for an interview and discussed social media conversations surrounding her seemingly losing her British accent as she mostly lives in the United States now. She said, I'm an actor. I grew up in the public eye. I grew up in America. I come to set, I'm an actor, and I adapt, and so I want to mimic other people. She explained the voices of the people she's around, like her fiance, Jake Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi's son, can also have some impact on how she speaks. But she pointed out that when she's in England, her natural accent comes out more. That's like a lot of people.
I do it for Christ's sake. When I'm around people with different dialects, I start to adopt them. You saw that when we had that Russian photographer in here that time. And it's I get exactly what she's talking about. You know, Christian Bale will do the same thing when he's in the United States and he's being interviewed. He'll drop his British accent. If you want to hear Millie Bobby Brown's actual British accent, this is it. And you can hear that.
It's like a Cockney
thing, sort of thing, yeah.
No, but she remembered she started doing Stranger Things when she was a kid.
And I could not detect that. I thought she was an American actress.
So if you've moved, which I have, where there have been different dialects, and I had, a Southern accent as a kid, you move somewhere, especially as an adolescent, you can absolutely 100% change your accent.
Absolutely. When Kathy started on the show, you remember that she had a thick Russian accent.
I was, yeah.
Thick.
I mean, it was hard.
We thought it was charming, actually.
Do you like the sound of my accent, Preston?
She said, I can't help that when I'm around my fiance or when I'm with people like Jimmy Fallon who have a very American accent. I want to replicate it. And now I'm in England. I want to replicate that. And I don't do it intentionally. And I'm sorry if it offends you, okay? But listen, I'm trying my best, she said.
She's not faking being from England.
No, it was following her appearance on The Tonight Show earlier this month that social media users began pointing out that throughout her conversation, sounded like the damsel star was losing her British accent, but that can happen over time.
Yes.
You kind of slide out of it a little bit.
That observation has been made many times about the original show Star Trek, which takes place in the future, and yet you would figure there'd be the homogenization of like Scotty's dialect, but it's not. It's just like this.
Mm-hmm. Kate Beckinsale has seemingly faced a health issue recently that landed her in the hospital. In an Instagram post on Monday, she celebrated UK's Mother's Day, which was Sunday, by sharing pictures and videos of her mom and dog. She also shared photos of herself from a hospital bed.
I was wondering what that was about.
She wrote, "Happy birthday and UK Mother's Day last week, and to my incredible mother. Thank you to those that love us and support us when it's crap and try to make sure that there are some bits that aren't." And she wrote in the caption, and for looking after our dogs when we can't, lead us to remember happy things when we can't, and turn up when we are sick, and sit with us, and send balloons, and check in, and pull us out of wells with love. In her post, she did not elaborate on when she was hospitalized and for what reason. So she was pointing out these examples of when mom is there for her.
Right.
So maybe she just did that as, here's a picture of my dog. She takes care of my dog.
Right.
Here's a picture of me when I'm sick. She takes care of me when I'm sick. So it might be that.
I know she's gone in recently for a massive boob job, Preston.
No, actually, she had to miss the Screen Actors Guild Award in 2019 because she was hospitalized for a ruptured ovarian cyst. So they're wondering if maybe there was some kind of a complication of that, or maybe that was a picture from then. But she had posted about her hospitalization on Instagram the previous month, but didn't share details at the time, saying, "Feeling a lot better. Thank you so much for your kind messages and love." And so who knows? We'll have to see.
I love her.
Okay, Beckinsale?
She's just beautiful. She's perfection. She's funny.
We saw her in person years ago. You'll remember that, Preston.
Yeah.
We've recounted that many times on the show. We're on the deck of an aircraft carrier for the promotion of the movie Pearl Harbor, and she was doing the junket. And
they brought her over to us, and we were just like,
what?
She was so pretty. I
And
mean, like
nice.
flawlessly pretty. So yeah, that was awesome. All right, in a long-awaited sequel to This Is Spinal Tap, yes, it is now in production, almost 40 years to the day that the original film was released in March of 1984. The feature is shooting in New Orleans, with Rob Reiner directing, and Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer all reprising their iconic roles as the legendary heavy metal band. Reiner will also return as the documentarian Martin DeBurgi. The production has also confirmed its cameos with Questlove and Trisha Yearwood, joining the already announced lineup of Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Garth Brooks.
It's awesome. You got to throw Billy Crystal in there as well.
Reiner said in a statement, "I recently spoke to Marty DeBurgi, who said that he was more than happy to take a sabbatical from his position as a visiting professor's assistant at the Edwood School of Cinematic Arts to once again document Spinal Tap to ensure their place in the pantheon of rock and roll." The plot sees Spinal Tap reuniting following a 15-year hiatus for one final concert. The film is being produced by Reiner under the Castle Rock Entertainment banner.
I clearly remember after seeing that movie in the theaters, I saw it by myself. I had an opportunity, just a break in the day, and I said, let me go check it out. Literally having to pull over driving back from it, Preston, because I was remembering moments from the movie and laughing so hard.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. This is going to be great, too. Lori Loughlin is making fun of herself on HBO more than 3 years after serving prison time for a role in the college admissions scandal. The Full House alum appeared as a fictional version of herself on Sunday's episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. In the episode, Ted Danson, who also plays a fictional version of himself, asked Larry David if he can sponsor Lori at a country club, explaining that no club will touch her because of that whole college admissions scandal thing. So Larry agrees to do so, arguing that it's not fair while dubbing himself a champion to the underdog. Well, he subsequently defends Lori during a meeting to review her membership application by delivering a Gettysburg Address type speech. He then tells Lori that they have to play golf together to complete the process. But when they do, Larry becomes disturbed when Loughlin cheats at golf and uses a bribe to get their tea time moved. And she also falsely claims to have a medical need to freely drive around the golf course and park in handicap spots.
Oh, my God, that's great.
Isn't that excellent?
And she went along with it.
Oh.
Absolutely.
That is awesome.
She's all in.
I watched it last night. It just keeps getting worse and worse.
Oh, that's great. That's excellent. Nice. Let's see. A couple more quick things. Conan O'Brien Must Go is finally going. The long in the works project announced last year during Warner Brothers Discovery's Upfront's presentation has been given a premiere date, and it will be Thursday, April 18th on Max. O'Brien announced the premiere date of the show's 4 episodes on Saturday at South by Southwest during an onstage conversation with Nick Kroll. Conan O'Brien Must Go is inspired by his podcast, Conan O'Brien Needs a Fan, in which he chats with listeners from around the globe and follows the host as he meets up with fans in Norway, Thailand, Argentina, and Ireland. So he's taking it around the world. Conoco produces the show, and O'Brien and Jeff Ross are executive producers. O'Brien said there are funny people all over the globe, and they all have their own rhythm. Everyone in Ireland is a comedian. I love talking to people who don't know who I am and don't care. I'm a connection junkie. I like to connect with people, and I think the show is my way to get my fix.
The podcast is great, and he gets some wonderful people on. I saw him, and Nick, maybe you can do a quick check on this. He is in a new movie, and it's escaping me who the guys are, but he's in this movie, and he's playing the father of one of them.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's the not the Lonely Island guys, the Please Don't Destroy guys.
That's it, the Please Don't Destroy guys.
Yeah, and he's the redhead's father. He works in
like a Best Buy.
Yeah, no. It's an outfit like an REI.
Like an REI, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks really funny. That movie sort of came and went though already. The Treasure of Foggy Mountain.
Is it already?
Yeah.
Over?
It's available, so you can.
I want to check it out.
Yeah.
All right, and then one last thing. Zach Galifianakis is the latest big name to join the cast of Only Murders in the Building and their upcoming 4th season. He stars, joins, of course, stars Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, as well as recurring players Molly Shannon, Eva Longoria, and Eugene Levy, and returning Meryl Streep. All new characters will be integral to the twists and turns of the investigation into the murders of Saz Pataki, played by Jane Lynch, Charles Hayden Savage's Steve Martin stunt double from his years on the series Brazos and its 2020 revival. So also are going to see. So here's a little bit of the story. Charles, Oliver, and Mabel will kick off the new season with a trip to Los Angeles before returning to the Arconia in their search for Saz's killer. Zach Galifianakis will next be seen in The Winner, I guess a movie called The Winner, and voicing Jumba and the live-action Lilo and Stitch as well. So he's added to the cast.
So Jane Lynch, played
his stunt
Steve
double.
Martin's
Yeah,
stunt double. It was hilarious.
All right, so we're ready for the clips. Here we go. Dan Fielding is one of 2 familiar faces left from the original Night Court, but returning for the reboot was no easy decision. In this clip, John Larroquette talks about what finally drew him in.
Just as a vain man, thinking that I don't want to be compared to myself when I was 35 years old. And now being a 76-year-old man, the actor in me started thinking as opposed to the person in me started thinking. It's actually kind of an interesting acting task, and what happened to that character and how he is pulled back into the orbit of the people and the place that he worked all those years ago.
It's not funny!
A new episode of Night Court airs tonight. That's on NBC. Here's our next clip. Reba McEntire is in her sophomore season as a judge on The Voice. And here, the iconic country music star talks about joining the fast-moving train that is reality TV game shows.
I've loved every bit of it. I love since the beginning. I was catching up. It's kind of like a card game. They get to this point and say, okay, we forgot to tell you this, but this is the way we're going to do it. I say, y'all making these rules up as you go. But I have enjoyed it. The other coaches have been so helpful because that's not their first rodeo, which it is mine. And the crew's been great. Everybody has been so neat to hang out with. I love doing this show.
I don't think I want to see it.
The Voice airs tonight. That's on NBC.
If you stop and think about this, the Idol and The Voice, they're titanic wastes of time because it's a study in nothing. Because, again, think about the true stars that have been generated from The Voice. Do any come to mind?
Well, yeah, I don't know about The Voice. I've
Idol,
never
we have
watched
a couple.
But Idol's done, there's a fair amount of people that have gotten a career. And I know that just shows you how slim your shot is.
Right.
In anybody making it. I mean, because there have been, Carrie Underwood is a legit huge star.
Superstar.
Kelly Clarkson is too.
Yeah.
But Daughtry has become a success in unto of, himself, and he's doing well. Actually, he's got a concert announcement coming up, not in this area, but he's doing a tour. But there's a few of them, and some have gone on and had a career like Justin Guarini.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's not a superstar,
Right.
but he's making a living out of it.
Sure.
And so, I don't know,
By the way-
but I know what you're saying. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people who come through there, but it's just,
I think The Voice is generated. I don't know if anyone.
I don't know about The Voice at all.
I don't know why, but Pancake was at Justin Guarini's. One of Justin's kids was performing in a play, and Pancake was at the play. I don't know if his daughter was also in it or he was just there, but he said he just ran into Justin the other day.
Oh, wow.
He's great.
All right. He is awesome. We
And
love him.
Pancake's good, too.
Haven't seen him in a while. All right, that's the last bit of the entertainment news that I have for you this morning. We will take a break because we have a few guests who are going to be joining us, and we have our first one in just a few minutes. Our good friend Mark Summers is stopping by today. His show in New York is doing tremendously well.
It's doing great.
It's going to go through June now,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
at least the beginning of June. So we will talk to him about that and more. Then we have comedian Joe Coy joining us a little bit later on. Tat Tuesday, bunch happening. We'll take a break and be right back. Stay put.
And that's your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
Ladies and gentlemen, the music means our good friend is back in Philadelphia and back in our studio. He's having a tremendous run with his show in New York City, The Life and Slimes of Mark Summers. Please welcome Mark Summers.
Hey, how's it going?
Back
Nice
to our
to see you
program.
all.
It's wonderful to see you, sir. It's going great.
Oh my God! When I was here last summer, it wasn't going great. We were playing. I don't want to mention the theater because
I remember.
yes.
I remember you were coming in, and ticket sales were light.
Well, let's just tell you that it was a 700-seat theater, and we were selling 50 tickets a night. Okay?
Yeah.
So we came here because we figured, we're on Preston and Steve.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole world will come. Well, where this place was in the middle of nowhere. You know, and it was grim. And so we were supposed to go to Buffalo to do 3 weeks.
You wanted to get away from one grim to go to Buffalo?
Well, that's it. And I said, guys, I'm done. Okay. Nobody cares about Mark Summers anymore. I had a nice career. Let's just move on. And they said, no, it's the Alleyway Theater in Buffalo. It's going to be unbelievable. And I said, yeah, you said this about this joint. So I said, I'll go do a week. But if they don't sell out every night, I'm going home. Well, the Alleyway Theater in Buffalo was selling out every night. They did their homework.
get out.
Yeah. So that was amazing. And here's how life is fascinating.
I love this.
I was having fun, but people told me if I wanted to get this into New York, I would have to tour it for 2 or 3 more years. I'm 72. I don't have 2 or 3 more years.
Right,
to do
right.
this thing,
You don't know.
I'm lucky if I make it to Friday. You
Yeah.
know? So we're doing the show, and the Mrs. Doubtfire tour opened right next to us. And the director, Steve Edlin, came to see our show. I didn't know that. And afterwards, he came to me and said, wow, that's really amazing. Have you ever thought about doing this in New York? And I said, yes, every day of my life, but I don't know anybody in New York. And he said, well, you do now.
Whoa.
And he said, I'm going to call somebody tomorrow. Okay, well, it's show business. And you go, sure,
Right.
that's
Yeah,
gonna
right.
happen.
Yeah.
And the next day, I get a phone call from the Schubert organization who runs,
That little organization.
little teeny, owns every theater in the world. And they said, tell me about the show. And I did. And they said, who's your producer? I said, I don't have one. Oh, okay. Well, we don't take shows with people who don't have producers. Can I put you together with somebody? So I get a phone call a few days later. Beautiful lady by the name of Lisa Dozier-Shackett. And she said, do you have a reference tape? And when you do a show, they put a camera in the back of the theater just to have it. And it's, it's not very good. Right. And she said, can you send me a script? So I did. And she called me 2 days later and said, wow, it brought me to tears. I said, really? She said, yeah. I said, okay. She said, are you coming to New York? I said, I'm doing The View for Halloween. Let's go out afterwards. And I was with her about 10 minutes, and I said, is this ever going to happen? I mean, are we 2 or 3 years away? And she said, I don't think you understand what this meeting is about. I said, no. She said, we're doing the show in New York. I said, how? She said, well, I love the script, and the Schuberts love the script. We're moving forward. I said, when? She said, July or August. I said, okay. So I called my wife. I said, I just had a great meeting. It'll never happen, but we're supposed to be doing this show July and August in New York. She calls me a week later and said, the theater I wanted is open. Can we open in February? I said, I don't know. and son of a gun, we're open off Broadway in New York City, doing the show, and it's going amazing. And so one never knows.
What was the initial run was supposed to be? Because it's now going to June 2nd.
Yeah, we're 16 weeks, which is insane in New York on a show that nobody initially knew about.
And we were talking about this trajectory. So when you're going into New York, it's like, yes, this is amazing that it's happening, but I'm not. Yeah. I know the context. It has exceeded that.
Oh, my God.
And it is so funny how things, we talk about things getting shelved. Talk about movie projects, things that are, in what they call the developmental hell.
Yeah.
And all these things. But if you ever want to make a case for getting it in front of the right people at the right time, and it always happens that when you're like, what the hell? I'm having a good time in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Who knows? So I've kind of consigned myself to the fact that this is the farewell and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything you'd wanted is happening.
Who would have thought that you go to Buffalo, New York, you get a show off Broadway?
My father used to call he said that's where they'll stick the enema hose into the country, and here it's your Valhalla.
It is.
Yeah.
It really has become that. And the reaction of the show is quite amazing. First of all, we have money now behind the show.
Well, I was going to ask you something. I know that your motivation behind this was just to people to come and see the show, and you wanted it to be, this is your story. You wanted it to be presented, but is the money doing pretty well?
Oh, my God.
All right.
Well, first of all, the set is amazing. And we have, I don't want anybody to think this is Double Dare Live. It's not anywhere close to that. We do 10 minutes of kind of go back in time, but we bring out the Double Dare set and we pick people from the audience and we bring them on stage.
And you've skipped that up tremendously.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, the sets and that whole part it just burst into amazing applause when we bring that stuff out. But it's not the focus of the show. The show is about overcoming obstacles. And we talk about, having OCD and hosting the messiest kid show on television and what was that like,
right.
And then the cancer stuff and then the car accident and one thing after another. But it's a comedy, but halfway through the show takes a left turn and it gets very dramatic. And when we first started this show, I said Alex Brightman, who wrote our show, 2-time Tony nominee, did the lead in School of Rock and Beetlejuice. I said, if somebody walks in and doesn't know who Mark Summers is, it still has to be a great show. And he's written a bulletproof show. It's unbelievable.
Well, and I was, and you've told us about this, and you were great on The View, by the way, and they pulled out all the stops. But the one thing that occurs to me to that point is I'm sure you're being approached after these performances or getting correspondence from people who have encountered the same obstacles that you've encountered. I would assume, knowing you to be the guy that we know you to be, that is paramount above everything else to know that this show speaks to people who are going through similar things.
So you go to the stage door and there are people standing there. I mean, we had a girl the other night who burst into tears because I talk a lot about intrusive thoughts and what it did to me, with the OCD. And people are relating so much to a lot of the things we're talking about. And it's fascinating that they're willing to open up. And Alex Timbers, who is the top director on Broadway, came and he said, "You son of a gun, you made me cry 3 times," which that was my goal initially.
to make people cry.
Because, when I started this show, I was still producing Restaurant and Dinner Impossible. And Robert Irvine's the nicest guy in the world, but he would call me every 20 minutes complaining that I wasn't on the set, that I was doing the other show. And we actually talk about him in the program. And now, it was very funny. At the opening night, Alex Brightman, who wrote the script, saw me for the first time in several years. And he said, when did you learn how to act? And I said, wow, that's the greatest compliment in the world. I said, I don't have Irvine calling me on the phone every 20 minutes, bitching and complaining to me that I'm not on the set of Restaurant or Dinner Impossible. So I'm able to sort of, think about it on a constant basis.
Well, you are naturally adept at that. I mean, we've seen, the show. And we were surprised. I mean, it's we shouldn't be, because we've said this many times before. It's happened so many times that people who are adept at comedy can pull upon things, because comedy is many times born of pain.
Yes.
That can feed a dramatic performance as well.
And some of the best actors and actresses have been in the stand-up world initially.
Yeah, you're really good. And of course, it's your story.
It's my story. The thing about it is, when my wife was there, she was there for the first 10 days. When she's in the audience, I just lose it. Yeah. I mean, I break down. Last night, I broke down 3 times. I never know when it's going to hit me, because it's so emotional to relive that on a nightly basis, talking about straightening fringe on a rug or whatever the hell I was going through at the time. And it's all out there. And so it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot in the past, Mark, about people that you've affected that you didn't even know that you had, because you've been doing it for a long time, and people watched Double Dare when they were kids. And there was a story that I heard recently, and I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you about it, but I love Conan O'Brien's Conan Needs a Friend podcast, and he had John Mulaney on. And John Mulaney used to tell people that Mark Summers was his dad.
Yes.
And I didn't know that until that podcast.
Yes, me either.
Okay, so have you ever, so you never even heard that before?
I've been trying to get a hold of him to be on my podcast, and he will not respond.
Oh, man, that's not the way to treat a father.
I know. Right. He's abandoned his own dad.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Did you beat him, Mark?
Yeah, right. I used to beat the crap out of him every Thursday night. And then I used to feed him with a slingshot. It was amazing. No, I've never met him, and I was complimented that he told people, that I was his dad, but I can't get him on the phone.
What about Conan? You know Conan at all?
He actually lives by me, but I've never met him.
Oh, you gotta go knock on his door.
Well, here, let me ask on this level, with the show the way it is, and obviously you've it's getting all of this attention. Have you gotten other offers tangentially from this? I mean, are you? Is there a next level past this? Because to me, this would seem you're now at the mountain you wanted to climb. You're on top. Is there now a new reset on where you'd like to go?
Well, there's all sorts of possibilities.
Okay.
Extending the show, taking it to Broadway, touring it. They've talked to us about touring the show now. And that's the other question I have to ask myself, too. I want to go out and play, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, Denver.
Sure, yeah.
Do that at this point in my life. I have to think about that. Yeah, there's a lot of doors that are opening up, which is fascinating. And I don't know. It's a whole new world. And it's interesting. I did TV for 50 years. I don't miss it at all.
Yeah.
This is such a whole new world. And things are happening that I never thought could happen. So I'm kind of overwhelmed. The fact that, you probably shouldn't say these things, we haven't gotten one bad review. Every review has been so positive, which is insane.
The billboards alone
are so cool. I'm walking down 49th and Broadway, and they have a billboard the size of God knows what with my picture on it. But the funniest part is my face is all over trash cans now.
They put Broadway shows on too.
Yeah. I know I've made it when I made a trash can in New York City.
Oh, that's great.
Remind me, is it just you, or do you have a cast?
It's just me. It's the life and slimes of me for 90 minutes.
So it's just you up there, except for when you bring on some contestants.
Yeah, we bring on contestants.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just want to go back to the OCD thing for a second. Is that a big part of the show?
Yes, it's a major part of the show.
Because I remember when we first met you, and before we became friends, and we asked you about it, you kind of downplayed it and okay, is that what you do?
Yeah, because I was still, I've been doing the show, for 15 years now? Mm-hmm. So I was still trying to get past it, quite honestly.
Got it.
And so I tap danced. But it's a serious part of the show now where I talk about what it was like to live that life. And, losing Hollywood Squares because they found out I had OCD. I was booked. They made the announcement at the CBS affiliates meeting, got a standing ovation. We shot promos. Hey, I'm Mark Summers. Join me on the new Hollywood Squares. And then I get fired because they thought I was crazy. And
what year was that?
When was that?
90s?
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s. And that was tough. And the way I found out, this is, lovely show business. Rosie O'Donnell came out to do her show in Los Angeles, and she wanted to do a bit with the singing and dancing game show hosts. So it was me and Tom Kennedy and, a bunch of game show hosts.
Yeah.
And Chuck Woolery comes up to me and says, "Hey, Summers, is it true you're getting fired from Squares?" And I said,
Wow.
Excuse me? And he said, "Yeah, because if that's the case, I want to go after the job." There's no business.
Right?
And so I
my
said, quite
God.
honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I went to my dressing room and called my agent, and I said, I just was told by Chuck Woolery that I'm getting fired from Squares. What do you know about it? And she said, well, what do you know about it? Oh, my God.
What the hell?
Yeah. So she said, yes, there's talk that they're going to replace you.
Wow.
And so this was the deal. I had a contract that was insane for many years to do Squares. And I met with an attorney. And, boy, I'm saying stuff I should.
Come on now.
Sorry,
I mean,
72.
And so he said.
in true showbiz fashion,
Yes.
you want it, yeah.
And he said to me, well, you'll probably win unless I get a stupid judge. Okay, well, what does that mean? And he said, well, there's a chance this is going to cost you a lot of money and you may not win. So he said, the first thing you need to do is write me a check for $250,000 for. So now I'm thinking, well, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So the company, which I don't want to mention because I don't need any lawsuits, basically said, if Summers wants to get into a pissing contest with us, we're the OPEC of piss, so go for it. And even if he wins, we'll countersue him until he has no money to send his kids to college
Right.
or live in a house.
But how they fired you because you? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
It's
I
terrible.
lived it.
There are tons of stories that are similar to this.
Wow.
But for something like in this day and age,
Right.
you could have had. You could have turned that around big time.
yeah.
You could have gone
Different
to
time.
and
Yeah.
tonight
Okay.
a
All right.
powerful story of a beloved game show
Yes.
host. Because of his OCD, it would have been a completely different thing. But back then, they saw it. Done.
Well, nobody knew. People were scared about OCD.
Right.
There actually was not
like leprosy.
much. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. So my attorney said, if I were you, I'd just settle. Okay. So of the 7-figure contract that I had for all these years, guess how much money I made?
Oh man,
I
I'm scared.
$5,000.
$20,000.
$20,000.
Really?
That's what was the payoff. And the next year, the president of that company, who will remain nameless, put his arm around me as I went to the NATPE convention, which is where all the syndicated shows would go. He slapped me on the back and, hey, Summers, we really effed you. That's what he said to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should have punched him in the face.
Does this executive's first name have 3 letters?
Gee.
Total or
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I'll tell you off the air. But anyway, but he's dead. So
Okay. All right. Then it wouldn't be this guy.
Yeah, listen, in this day and age and the spotlight on mental health and people being a lot more aware of these conditions and OCD being one of many
Yes.
that are serious but certainly manageable and so on.
It's the worst.
Whole different story.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You
in
could
fact,
never get away with it.
No.
Ryan Gosling would be playing you in the movie.
I'll take that, by the way.
No, but it is fascinating. And to that point about the OCD and everything and battles with cancer and we remember fresh off the taxi cab
the
crash
car
and all
accident.
that
We
stuff.
talk about all that.
Every one of those things is a ding that can set you off and second guess. And why is this happening to me? And am I deserving of this? And we always talk about the imposter anxiety and all of that stuff. I'm not that good. How am I getting this? Every day. And so when you take the stage on a show that is getting great reviews in the theater city in the world, do you have a moment where you go, okay, it's good now? Or is it still a hour-to-hour, minute-to-minute battle?
I'm good now. And this is fascinating to me. I don't get nervous at all.
Wow.
Because I've worked my whole life for this.
Yeah.
Okay. And I get excited, but I don't get throw up nervous like I used to when I started doing stand-up and stuff like that. And the basic idea of the show is overcoming obstacles. Why do some people, when the wall's in front of them, they know how to go over, under, around, and through. And some people just go, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And those are the people who go to work every day and hate their lives, which I can't even imagine. And as I always say, and I think you guys all feel the same way, I've never worked a day in my life. I've just had fun.
It's funny because I know you're a big fan, and Johnny Carson served as
We talk about him.
Yeah, as a big inspiration.
Yes.
I think Johnny, towards the end of his life, was probably not in a very good place.
No.
Like, he had retired, and he seemed conflicted, and I think maybe whatever demons sort of revisited him later on. You're going the other way.
Yeah.
Everything is shearing off and leaving clarity and success. I hope that's not lost on you.
No, I agree with you 150%. And, Carson had a big influence on me. I was working at a radio station in Elwood, Indiana, and he was playing Clues Hall in Indianapolis, and I got to interview him at age 15.
Wow.
I still have that
15.
tape. 15. I was nervous as hell, but, there I was in the room with Carson. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. And my first real job in Los Angeles was writing Truth or Consequences the last year Bob Barker hosted it, and I'm standing next to Barker. He was my idol.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a cafeteria. We'd walk to the lunch truck together, and at the time, Woodstock, Watergate was going on.
Right.
And I would walk to the truck, and nobody was a bigger supporter of Nixon than Bob Barker.
Yeah.
And we would have pretty heated conversations even back then about, you got to be kidding me. And he was saying America is going to be upset that this was the greatest president who's ever been in this country. And, so it was fascinating to have that. But, Barker, when Johnny Olson, who was the announcer on television, died, I called Bob and said, I want to audition for that job. And he said, absolutely not. And I said, why? He said, you're a host. You're not an announcer.
Wow.
Which was very cool of him, quite honestly. I
that
was
is.
upset at the point, but at the time.
Right.
But he was 100% right.
It's just amazing. So besides that one interview with Carson and obviously being on the show, did you enjoy any sort of other encounters with him?
I did. Fascinating story. I'm working the Magic Castle, 1973, 74. And I was an okay act. I wasn't a great act. But Johnny walked into the castle that night and was coming down to see my show.
He loved magic.
He loved magic. And I thought, oh, my God, this is going to be a dream come true. He's going to see me, and then he's going to put me on the Tonight Show.
Right.
Well, to this day still, if you go to the Magic Castle, you have to wear a coat and tie. And they're getting ready to bring Johnny down to my show, and he doesn't have a tie. And Mickey O'Malley was the guy who was the manager. I never forgot this guy's name. And he said, excuse me, Mr. Carson, but you have to put on a tie to be here in the Magic Castle. And he said, no, I'm not putting on that tie. And he goes, well, then you're going to have to leave. And Johnny said,
Christ.
You're going to throw me out because I don't have a tie? And he says, that's right. And he said, we have many ties back here in the cloakroom, as he said. Why don't you come back and grab one of those ties? And Johnny left. And he didn't get to see my show. And I thought, whoa, that was a moment that could have happened. That did. So I've had a couple of those almost moments.
Yeah.
But, it just took me longer to get there, but I finally got there.
So who's been, obviously you said, obviously you have, the reviews are all really glowing.
Nice. Yeah.
Who has been in the audience? Has anyone surprised you who has shown up of any sort of...
Trying to think. Anybody, Joe? I'm trying to think who's been to the show that I'm kind of surprised.
Who would you like to see it? I mean,
wow, that's a good question.
Yeah.
The Preston and Steve show.
Well, yes,
we were
you
just
better
talking
be
about
there.
this. Now with the
We're
extended,
coming for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, you
we want to
gotta
come together as a show.
Kathy, I have a lot of friends who've been coming, and I don't want to know when they're there.
Okay.
Because I think it affects perhaps the way I perform.
Sure.
And it's better that I don't know and see them after the fact. It was interesting. This means nothing to you guys, but I did warm-ups on a show called Our Magazine. And the exec producer was a guy, I remember I went to meet him. I couldn't get an audition for Our Magazine to do the warm-ups. And I found out this lady, Lillian Mizrahi, was the talent coordinator. And I chased her around a CVS drugstore, begging her to get me a meeting with Marty. So I walked in and he said to me, Mark Summers, that's not your real name. Nobody's named Summers. Tell me your real name. That was his opening thing. And I had a meeting with him once. Everybody who worked on the show got their name on the credits on the crawl except me. And I went into and I said, hey, Marty, how come I'm not on the crawl? He said, that's for Bubbies and Zadies. Get out of my office. And so...
Bubbies and Zadies?
Bubbies, he says, who cares if your name's on the crawl? So he came the other night, and I had no idea he was there. And he was blown away. And so the fact that people don't know what to expect and then they see what they see, it's it's unbelievable.
It's, in New York, obviously, is the entertainment capital of the world in New York and L.A., but so many of the shows tape in L.A., in New York now with The Tonight Show and Seth Meyers is there. And so any access to any of those guys or doing any of those shows? You did The View for sure.
We did The View. The world's best publicist, Joe, is over here to my left, and he's working on all of that stuff. So, yes, we can't say anything just now, but there's things in the works.
Hey, how come at the Oscars the other night they weren't supposed to talk about their publicists?
I don't know what that
was. Did you see
about.
that?
Yes, I did see that.
And then people started talking about their publicists anyway, as sort of an inside joke. But I'd never heard of that before.
I don't know why anybody would.
That's often.
Robert Downey Jr. thanked his stylist. That was probably a little poke at that too.
I think so.
Well, they're actually going to start giving Oscars for casting directors.
No,
yes,
that's right. They did make that announcement.
Yeah, they're going to. So I would assume that. And if you looked at the in memoriam crawl or the
you couldn't see it, by the way.
Everybody from concession stand workers, everyone got some sort of nod. So a publicist is as big a part of the industry as anybody.
They left Norman Lear off the list. So how do you do that?
Did they?
Yeah.
See, they always leave something.
What they did at the end, if you saw the last scene, the last shot.
Yes.
As they were wrapping it up, was a large graphic of about 44,000 names.
I couldn't read any one of them.
I saw Suzanne Summers was the one I saw.
I ran up to the television, and the television was big enough. I couldn't read anything.
Yeah.
That was really odd. I thought it was a pretty good show. But I didn't see any movies. Did you guys see
Yeah.
Oppenheimer and Barbie. Yeah, I saw the two biggies.
Was Oppenheimer?
And The Holdovers.
Oppenheimer's great.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah, but I waited till it hit streaming, and I watched it in 2 segments, and that made it much better.
I bet.
It's like, watching some of these series now with these hour-long shows, and you can break them up. I've found that that's the best way.
Well, how did you think Jimmy Kimmel did?
He did okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a good host.
He definitely pissed off Robert Downey Jr.
Yes,
though.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
That was, but because I know you have Joe Coy coming up, and there's a guy who got beaten up for no reason doing the Golden Globes because that job is so difficult.
Well, and what people forget is that Joe Coy sells out.
He's hysterical.
Huge arenas.
He's playing the Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah, not bad. Right?
The guy's he's no piker, but it is a thankless. It used to be Carson and Bob Hope, and it used to be, look at Letterman, arguably one of the great hosts of all time, had a problem hosting
Major.
it. Yeah, and if you do that and you get dinged, you're always consigned to that. That was it. It was over. So it's a thankless job, I think.
On CBS Sunday Morning, they did a whole piece about how they were working on it for 4 months or something.
With Kimmel,
Yeah, with Kimmel. And the fact that Joe Coy only had 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The yin and the yang of that whole situation. And I didn't realize that Jimmy Kimmel's wife was exec producer and had right on that.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Second year in a row, I think, for the show.
Pretty cool.
Hey, I wanted to ask you this. Obviously, if you're just tuning in, it's Mark Summers. And here's a text that came in and said, I live in New York City, Mark, 52nd and 6th Avenue. Avid Broadway fan. I am buying tickets to your show as I type this, Mark.
Oh, nice.
So,
that's fantastic.
are you just in town to promote it, or are you in town for some other reasons?
Well, it's
a meal.
My home away from home. Yeah, of course. The question is, do I go to Butcher and Singer, or do I wait until Vetrie's place opens? It's just, I could do both, actually.
Right,
but now we're going over to see our friend Mr. Jarek after this. And
cool.
Yeah, so we're hanging out in town, which I love. And what should I do? What's different since I left here?
Wow.
Have you been to Jean Georges at the Four Seasons?
I have. It was amazing.
And the views you get from up there, I would go there again. I'd never been. I went a month or so ago, and it's an unbelievably beautiful room with incredible views. It's not cheap, but
take out a new credit card before you
go.
Really, it is bad.
But
right?
it was worth every penny. It was a cool experience.
You get what you pay for, and it's pretty amazing.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll jump in and let you know that there is a restaurant called Mon that is in the old Kalia space, and they are open for lunch, and I highly recommend you try that out. It's
and what's the cuisine?
It is Portuguese.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've checked that out. Probably a lot of fish. That's good.
Is that a
Cambodian?
Is that kind of the enjoyment of life, going out to these restaurants
That's
and,
everything.
and trying to,
It is.
because you are a very well learned restaurant man.
Cultivated palate.
I get to hang out with guys who know what they're talking about. And I went to Nobu yesterday in New York. I always go to the one in Malibu, and this one was equally as good. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong. It's a part of my life that I really, really enjoy. Great food.
Will you ever just slum it and get some of that rat on a stick that they offer in New York? Those little
I found a
carts.
cheesesteak place near our theater at 41st and 9th.
Bradley Cooper had a truck, a cheesesteak truck that he was selling out of. It was in that general area.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
he teamed up with Angelo from Angelo's.
No.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It was for like a one-time pop-up thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this city, it used to be San Francisco, but for my money, still, Philly's got the best food. It's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, it's great to see you as always.
Same here, guys.
We will be up to see you. The show is running through June 2nd now, and you can check the Life and Slimes of Mark Summers at the New World Stages, Stage 5 in New York City. Best way to get tickets?
Lifeandslimes.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to
we'd
come
love to see
visit,
you.
by the way.
I can't wait to see you
We
guys.
are gonna
Let
do
me
that.
know. I know
Yeah.
somebody can get you tickets.
Very good. It's great to catch up with you, man. Thanks for
here.
being here. We love you. Mark Summers. And with that, we will take ourselves a quick break, come back in a second. We got Beef Allen. Joe Coy was mentioned. He's going to be on the show later on this morning, too. So stay put. We will return shortly.
And there's finally a period. And that's your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by Mini Melts of America. Mini Melts are just a few clicks away. Order delivery on the WWII app today. We will start with this story out of Indiana. Court documents revealed that a woman's Uber ride to the pharmacy started off strange when her driver asked her to drive instead of him.
Could you drive?
Going along with it, the situation worsened when he reportedly began to fondle her from the back seat.
No.
Now, a 30-year-old Indianapolis man is charged with 1 count of sexual battery, along with a misdemeanor count of battery. According to court documents, the woman ordered an Uber because she needed to head to CVS and pick up her medication. The woman said her Uber ride started bizarrely straight off the bat when the man, who's reportedly deaf and has an intellectual disability, handed the woman his phone with a message on it asking her to drive. The woman told police she knew it was odd and not allowed by Uber, but decided to go along with it because she needed to get to the pharmacy and didn't want to wait around for another Uber driver, as there were few in the town of Anderson where she was. So while driving, the man reportedly kept trying to show her messages on her phone, or on his phone, I guess. Some of the messages were inappropriate, such as telling her the size of his penis and seemingly asking for a handy.
Wow.
The woman said at one point he reached his
He's
hand
getting a bad review.
under her shirt, grabbed her breast, causing her to slap his hand away and nearly drive off the road. The woman said she kept showing the man her wedding ring, telling him she was married, but he only mouthed, "How much?" The words, "how much?" According
It's
to
insane. Should have gone with Lyft.
According to court records, the woman decided to pretend that she found his antics funny in order to trick him into letting her take a photograph of him, along with taking photographs of some of the messages that he was showing her, including one that said, "How to handy," and I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
After picking up her prescription, the man reportedly reached forward during the drive back to her home and groped her between the legs over the top of her pants. Police later spoke to the man, who denied ever touching the woman and said that he was respectful. He did admit to writing the inappropriate messages, but claimed he was only joking. The man's guardian told police that he suffers from an intellectual disability, cerebral palsy, and frontal lobe syndrome, in addition to being deaf. She said the man doesn't always know right from wrong and thinks things are funny that aren't funny to normal people.
So he has all these issues going on, and they passed him to be a driver for Uber?
Uber stated that the man has been removed from their platform, calling his allegations deeply disturbing. Despite the man having several of disabilities that could potentially hinder his ability to safely drive, investigators did not mention the man having no driver's license or being suspended from driving.
I would think that's the kind of stuff that gets vetted up front.
If convicted, the man can face between 6 months to 2.5 years in prison on a level 6 felony. So, Uber's website simply states that anyone who is legally able to drive can apply to drive with Uber.
Right. Do they actually check those facts?
I don't know. That's a good question. The captain and co-pilot of a domestic flight in Indonesia carrying 153 people fell asleep for nearly 30 minutes during the flight.
I was sleeping.
The incident occurred in January on a return flight from Kandari. The capital of the Batik Air A320 aircraft took a nap after getting permission from his co-pilot while the plane was at a cruising altitude of 36,000 feet. Around 45 minutes later, the captain woke up and offered to let the co-pilot rest, but they declined, and the captain fell back asleep. The first officer spent roughly the next 20 minutes communicating with air traffic controllers and flight attendants before they inadvertently also fell asleep. 28 minutes after the co-pilot's last recorded transmission, the captain woke up and saw that his second in command was asleep and that they had flown off course as well. After waking them, the captain answered another pilot's call and air traffic controllers claiming that they had suffered, quote, a radio communication problem.
I thought there'd be more mountains in Colorado.
The plane later landed in Jakarta without any further issues. Many long-haul flights have relief pilots to ensure that the pilot is sufficiently rested.
Wow.
When they take the controls on short-haul flights, such as this one, which takes about 2 hours and 40 minutes, control rest periods are more common. One pilot can briefly catch some shut-eye while the other continues monitoring controls. The second in command apparently had not rested sufficiently the night before the flight. So they are...
Why don't we take a nap together?
Investigating that, yeah. Well, here's another story. A flight in China was delayed by more than 4 hours on Wednesday after a passenger threw coins into the engine. The China Southern Airlines flight was originally scheduled to take off from Beijing around 10 a.m., but it did not depart until after 2 o'clock. And a video shared by multiple state media outlets, a flight attendant is seen questioning a passenger believed to have thrown the coins, asking them how many coins were thrown in the engine. The passenger's identity was not revealed. Can be heard on camera saying 3 to 5 coins.
3 to 5.
Yeah,
and I made a wish for each one.
The passenger was later taken away by airport police. The airline said coins were found during the security checks, but did not specify how many were located. The aircraft maintenance staff conducted a comprehensive safety inspection to determine that there were no safety issues before takeoff. China Southern Airlines issued a warning against uncivilized behaviors on their official Chinese social media, saying throwing coins at the plane poses a threat to aviation safety and will result in different levels of punishment. So it's considered good luck
to throw a coin into a plane engine?
I've read stories of
like
this,
a wishing engine?
Of this before. It's a lot like that. Similar incidents of people throwing coins at planes, apparently for good luck, have occurred in recent years in China.
So familiar with the tradition, when you get a new car, you throw a couple coins on the floor in the back seat?
Oh, yeah?
That's sort of a good luck thing.
I didn't know that.
Into an engine on a plane,
yeah.
I think I'd be less inclined to do that.
Yep. All right, and then one last story, and we'll wrap it up. A Florida man has been arrested for reportedly joking that he had a bomb in his bag. 70-year-old Alan Berinsky told police he was just trying to be funny.
Come on, lighten up!
And may have been attempting to flirt as well.
The old bomb flirt.
The old bomb in the bag flirt.
Ooh, someone's got a bomb.
The incident occurred on Friday at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport when 2 witnesses heard a passenger say, "If the bomb in my bag goes off prematurely, I apologize to your family in advance."
Aw.
That's hot.
The witness, alarmed, reported the statements. Berinsky was arrested.
I don't know. He just came up to me with a bomb threat, and I fell in love.
He's been charged with making a false bomb report, by the way. So, yeah, idiot. And that is all I have in the bizarre file for you this morning. All right, we're going to break. We'll come back in a moment. Don't forget that Joe Coy will be joining us on the show around 9 o'clock, coming to the Wells Fargo Center on March 22nd. So we'll check in with him, and we'll get into some other things as well. Stay with us.
WMMR.
Thanks, Kath. So over the weekend, I thought I was texting my best buddy, Steve Lesick, and I was actually texting Steve Morrison. And fortunately, what I sent him was pretty tame.
I'd seen your nuts before.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
D's nuts.
Yeah, D's nuts.
But I texted him, and Rochelle, I was asking if he and his wife wanted to jump on a FaceTime and chat with us. It's what we do because they live in Missouri, and so we don't get a chance to see him that often. And she's like, did you hear back from Steve? And I'm like, no, it's like an hour ago I texted him. I haven't heard anything. That's really weird. So then I go and I look and I see I sent it to Steve Morrison. And then, of course, I had to respond to, fire back to Steve and go, obviously that I didn't mean to send that to you.
I saw it after the fact. Had I have known when you sent it, I would assumed you were trying to set up a Zoom call. I would have responded back.
Yeah.
But that was funny because that came about, I guess when you sent it was about 2 hours after I sent directions to the wrong person.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. So
similar name or just
completely different?
Just totally different.
It's what I did is I sent it from my laptop. And I end up doing it far more on my laptop. You know, you can go through both than I do on my phone. And I just hit the button and started. And I think it scrolled up to the right. Long story short, I didn't scroll all the way to the top, and I was halfway up the page, and I sent it to that person. I do that all the time.
Well, here's where I get messed up, Steve, is group texts.
Group text, similar, yeah.
I wanted to start a group text with a bunch of friends from college, and one of my best friends from college is named Susan Gruner. My aunt's name is Susan Zola. And so we're trying to organize a trip with a whole bunch of college friends to go to the Ocean's Calling event to see Dave Matthews Band and a bunch of other bands down in Ocean City, Maryland.
And your aunt.
And, well, I didn't know my aunt was on there. And also, what I didn't realize at the Ocean's Calling event is Lisa Loeb is playing. And it brought up some fond memories of people who wanted to bang Lisa Loeb when we were in college. And one of my friends wanted to bang her glasses right off. So,
oh, my God, your aunt is on it?
Well, and then so what I didn't realize,
great.
Kathy, is that you can also see when somebody leaves the text chain.
Yes.
So at one point, Susan Zola has left this text chain. And I
Probably around that time.
Yeah, and I immediately texted her, it's like, Aunt Susan, I am so very sorry. And she's like, no, I was entertained by it. I just didn't want the conversation to continue.
Yeah.
We have, amongst this group that we work here with, we have a few different group texts going on. There's some that's just the six of us, and then there's some that include Kyle and Chuck and Connor. And then there's some that's just like me and Steve and Casey because we geek out about the stuff that we're into.
Then there's an old one with Nick Murphy.
With Nick Murphy in there, too. I've started giving those groups names.
Yeah, I like that.
Probably a good idea.
Which is the best way so you don't mess that type of thing up. But this is nothing compared to one that Kathy shared with us this morning, which this is actively happening now, right?
Yes, and it's like, I feel like it's
worse.
spiraling out of control.
Oh,
yes.
no.
So a friend of mine was texting who she was texting her contractor and then somebody else at the same time. And so she got annoyed at one person and sent a text that said, wait, where is it?
And you're going to have to paraphrase
yes,
this.
of course. It says, all you want to talk about is your D, T's, and sex. You have no depth. And so she sent the text message, and then she worked out for 45 minutes because, you can edit and delete text messages now.
You have
but you only
couple
have
minutes. Yeah.
You have a couple minutes. So she worked out for 45 minutes. When she went back, she said, I got to text my contractor back to tell him that it's okay to come over. And she looked and she goes, I did. And then she read it and she was like, oh my God. She sent it to the contractor instead of the other person that she wanted to yell at.
Again, paraphrase that text she sent to her contractor.
All you talk about is your D, T's, and sex. You have no depth. She sent it to the contractor.
Who is apparently
who is like a friend's, it's a friend's dad. And so I'm like, look, if it was my dad, this would be great. She's like, yeah, if it was your dad. She was like, not this other person's dad. And so she goes, I should just ignore this, right? Like, we'll pretend that this never happened. And I was like, yep. I go, that's a good idea. I said, and so she followed up 45 minutes later with, good morning. Yes, that works for me. Looking forward to having the work done. See you then. And then she spiraled out of control, I think, thinking about it. And she orchestrated some other text message and sent that. And it tried to make it look like it was sent from like a corporation saying, we apologize. Some of our work phones were hacked into yesterday.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're going down a spiral.
Wait, and the message, wait till you see the message. It's like 3 paragraphs long. And I was like, what did you do? And she'll text me and say, hey, what do you think about this? Like yesterday, she was like, I should ignore this, right? I said, yes, ignore it, pretend like it never happened. Don't ever talk about it again.
It festers, though, in people's minds.
And that's what happens,
And so
Steve.
you start to create a story that has become this thing. And you showed me, it's multiple paragraphs, this
multiple
faux
paragraphs. And I said to her, I go, don't you think, the guy it's a dude. Like,
right.
when you see him, just
contractor.
be like,
Yeah.
like, my God, I'm so sorry
Own it.
about just laugh.
Yes, for real. Or even I would have texted back immediately. Oh my God, that was not meant for you. It was a joke with a friend. I'm sorry.
It was meant for my daughter.
Yeah.
She was like, no, it's not the like. She goes with this
No sense of
person,
humor.
and well, no sense of humor, just who it was and all
Yeah.
that. She goes, I need to pretend like it never happened.
No, well,
and then she didn't. She orchestrated this big long message that supposedly came from a company.
Oh no. Oh
to
no.
send to him.
It's brutal, though. It's brutal.
Wait,
We've
and then
talked about this countless times. So where does it stand right now? Is that faux corporate text?
He ignored the faux corporate text and responded and was like, "We'll see you Wednesday."
I had one where I was with my sister. Okay, I was staying with her in Florida, and we were having some issues. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm texting Rochelle. And my sister and I are in the car together. I'm texting Rochelle, and I'm texting her. I'm like, I cannot wait to get the hell out of here. I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It was your sister.
Guess who I was texting
Your
to?
sister?
Yes, I was texting it to her.
What did she say?
Now, fortunately, she's not very tech savvy. And so after I sent it, I'm like, oh my God. I realized what I did. I'm like, can I see your phone for a second?
You deleted it?
I deleted the whole chain.
I'm going to erase your contacts.
And then later on, she had asked me to send like a picture or something like that. I didn't. She's like, wait, what happened to our... I saved all that, our conversations and all the things you've ever sent me, and I'm like, let me see it,
Let me see if I can get it. Oh, I erased it all.
Let me see if I can fix that. You should be able to retrieve that.
I purposefully erased it all.
God, but the moment I did it, I'm like, oh no.
Well, lucky you were able to finagle
Get in there.
the erasure.
Let me see your phone.
Yeah, can I see that real quick?
Can I see that
Can
real
I
quick?
smash your phone? You should have just rolled down the window.
Just throw it.
Chuck it into the ocean.
By the way, feel free to share your stories. 215-263-WMMR. We'd love to hear that.
So I have another friend who
text.
was, doing a little spying on somebody and didn't want to look on her phone at social media, right? Because sometimes I guess you could see if they,
Right.
whatever. So she says to her daughter, she goes, "Can I borrow your phone?" Her daughter looks at her and goes, "No, stop doing whatever you're doing." Like, she knew immediately what she wanted to use her phone for.
Wow. Let's see. Where was the one, Nick? There was a text that talked about somebody was texting. They thought they were texting us.
Yeah, and ended up texting their dad instead. So I was trying to figure out what they were.
It doesn't say what, but they said it was mortifying, apparently.
Well, if it's a subject on our show, it's going to be probably pretty volatile.
Yeah. Somebody said you guys need the app called Group Me, which I'm not familiar with that.
Look it up.
I use WhatsApp for a high school text chain, but that's because one of the people is in another
South
country.
America?
Yeah. So that's convenient. But and that comes up in an entirely separate app, so it's easy to keep track of it.
What is that one that was mentioned?
Group Me.
Group Me. Yeah, it's an app.
Your people all together, the easy way to connect with all the groups in your life, big or small. But all right, it doesn't exactly
It
say
seems
what it is.
kind of redundant.
I'll look.
You could do that on your
It's
on your
just text
phone
chain.
regularly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Maybe separate one that you use solely to complain about your sister, Preston. Yeah.
yes.
Well, this you can create polls, you can chat, post photos, create events. So it's more of like a
Annoying.
instead of just a
Yeah.
text chain. It's more, Steve.
It's more-
It's much more annoying.
I'm going to go to Brian to begin with here. Hey, Brian, good morning.
Hey guys, big fan.
Hey, thanks, man. What's up, buddy?
So we were years ago. We were up at Elk Mountain for the weekend, and my one buddy, our best friend, he just started becoming the worst person, getting into drugs, this, that, and the other. We all hop in the car to drive the 3 hours home. I try to text the other guys in the car, like, "Hey, we need to have a conversation with John. He's just a loser. We got to cut him out." Then I realized I sent it to him. I'm in shotgun. He's in the back seat. I turn around to grab the phone out of his hand. He was already reading it. He looked up and said, "I already read it." It was a quiet ride home.
Let's see. Excruciating.
Did you
do
ever?
that a lot? You text the person you're thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you guys ever?
Exactly.
Did you ever talk to him about it eventually?
My best friend. Yeah, still my best friend. It was just a sad point.
Can you orchestrate, like to your case, Kathy, with your friend? Can you orchestrate a fake? Like you
intervention?
Well, so what he does, he sends one to his friends, and he says he can say and accidentally again send it to this targeted guy.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. He means the world to me, And then in this way, of course, the easiest thing to do, listen, that's how I feel right now, and just confront it.
But that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Accidentally send something, a note of real concern about someone and have it sound as if it was composed for someone else.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
I think so. It's kind of an indirect way. And then you wait and see if they bring it up or not, or they might want to quietly handle whatever problem and they didn't realize they had a problem or something like that.
Dear Preston, I can hear Kathy's fingernails on the keyboard when she typed. Oh my God, I sent it to Kathy.
Well, I sent a text to Casey about Casey. It was supposed to go to Nick.
What was it?
This was years ago, and I responded, and I forget what I said. Like I was like, "Haha, know what I mean?" And Casey was like, he goes, "I know it wasn't meant for me. Whatever."
No, Nick sent one to me like that one time.
A text?
It was supposed to go to you.
I think it was an email.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it was an email.
Yeah, Preston was being a real dick. Yeah.
Apparently, and but we handled it. I got back to you, and I'm like, hey.
Dear
I was like,
Nick.
dude, I'm just doing my job or something like that, and I would appreciate it if you have a problem that you could talk to me or something like that.
And then Kathy, Preston wants me to come to him directly. Can you believe that, Dick?
By the way, Kathy, I love the sound of your nails on the keyboard.
It's ASMR, right?
I will just stay in the office sometimes when you're typing, even though I have no work to do. Here's a text that says, I thought that I was texting my brother and coworker at the time that our boss was such a dick. I texted our boss. I text my boss that he was a dick. Yeah, it doesn't say what ended up happening.
It's so cringeworthy, even if you don't know the people.
Well, here's another one that says, I texted a sensual text about doing something to my girlfriend's nipples, and it accidentally went to my senior design group.
Oh, no.
At work.
Oh,
dude, it can get so bad. I mean, you can take it all the way up to... I mean, you know, you can take it to the next level, like Jeffrey Toobin on a Zoom call, you know, that famous story where he's playing with himself. But I mean, in this case, you know, it's just one of those innocuous, you'll knock out a text. I just want to convey it this way. And then once you hit it, you're like, oh my God. Thank God for that recall element, though. Thank God for that. Have you used it often?
You know, we recently used it. So I sent a message to family members about a party that I was having for my mom. This was last year. And one of my cousins responded and said, oh my gosh, we can't come. We're having a surprise party for my mom. Well, her mom was also on the
chain,
text.
yeah.
So she went back, edited the message out, and the mom never saw it.
Okay,
good.
For the record, you can check edited text. You can see what it originally said.
You can?
Yes.
What?
How?
Then what's the point?
Well, you can still see what it was supposed to say.
No.
that
I mean,
makes
if you're the recipient.
Don't get mad at me. It's just
No.
what it is.
I want to be clear on this. Then that's ridiculous
Oh, wait,
because
it makes it
what's the
useless.
point of editing it?
Yeah.
But I don't understand. How do you see it?
You can tap it and see what the original message was.
Well, all right,
And look, for us, like if it's just like a spelling mistake or I said something wrong, like that's. But if you like said something terrible,
I need to
and
see
then
this now.
changed
I
it.
need to see you. Can we?
Here, I'll
Can we
text
do
you.
that?
Text Steve, work on that because I want to go to this call. This is a voice to text warning from George. Hi, George. You're on the air. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, what's up, bud?
On my shirt. Not a whole lot. I am a contractor here in Florida, and I was working with a European designer. Really, really big job, building a movie theater in their house. And when we were painting it, she had a bunch of different color paints that she wanted. And I did talk to text, which is a dangerous zone. And I said, when you get a chance, so we can be right, please send me the white paint. And instead, when I did the talk to text, it said, please send me your white panties.
Oh, my God.
She obviously dropped us. I lost about an $80,000 job, but she went off like crazy.
Did you try to explain to her what had happened?
Oh, I went on for 20 minutes apologizing. Please understand it was an accident. She said, just because I'm from Mania doesn't mean we're all prostitutes. I'm going to report you to the Better Business Bureau. It was a nightmare. So
Oh, man.
You're
That's
driving,
effed
what are
up.
you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? That's the thing. Also, with voice to text, you're right, and thank you for the call, George. Is after you have completed your voice to text, make sure you proofread it real quick. Take a quick glance because you might be throwing something in there you have no idea. Okay, hang on a second.
Okay.
Yes, what's the story now?
I'm blown. Marissa's
works.
right. Yeah, so she sent texting all of this to texting all of you to test this, and I tapped on it, and I saw the original message which says you all suck.
Yeah, so underneath there's a little button that says edited, and then it's a little hyperlink, and you can see it.
How long does that last?
Forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Preston, we just got a message from Chuck. It says, "Hey, Preston, I'm good to meet this morning to continue our conversation about how annoying Kathy is."
Oops.
To me, that totally renders that aspect of it useless. If you can simply now, mind you, you would have to have the inclination to see if there was an edited text sent to you, right? So that's one step. But still, if you can go back and hunt the original text, how does that benefit? What's the purpose of it?
When you message somebody, you send a DM on Instagram, you can click a button that deletes it entirely. So you can unsend it, and I like that feature. Like
Is there a way to reclaim that though?
Not that I know.
Marissa, can you
if somebody has their notifications on and sees it in a different application, like in a like if it gets a notification screen, then you might see part of it.
I see what you're saying.
Even though you've unsent it and it doesn't exist in there, it'll show that something was sent and unsent.
I don't like having Instagram notifications on, so I don't see that.
There you
go. Let me go to Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Good morning.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Actually, it's Andrea.
Andrea. Gotcha. All right. What's up, Andrea?
So I am notorious for sending the wrong texts and like screenshots to people, but the worst one was in this job that I had between college and grad school, where I had this really awful boss who made, like, she was terrible, but at the end of the day, she would make me turn off her PC because she had gone home already. So I turned it off, and while I was there, I may have farted in her chair, and I texted my brother, and I was like, I just farted in this lady's chair, sweet vindication, and I looked and I texted her.
Oh my God!
That's awesome.
So let me get this straight. She was having you shut off her computer, so it would appear that she was leaving later, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, she was a scumbag.
Yeah, so she's a scumbag. So you fart in her chair, but you texted her and accidentally and told her you farted in her chair.
Yeah, because my brother's name and her name started with the same letter.
Oh, dude.
And you wrote "sweet retribution" or something like that?
No, I said I just farted in her chair. Sweet vindication.
Sweet vindication. And
so how did it play out? Did anything happen?
She wrote me back and said, "I just got this message. Did you mean to send this to me?" And I was like, "Oh no!" And then I got fired.
She fired
the next day?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh.
Was it worth it in retrospect?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good.
Wow.
All right. Thank you.
I farted in her chair. That's awesome.
Let's go over to Amanda now. Amanda, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up, Amanda?
So I accidentally texted one of my parents. I'm a teacher. I was having a conversation with my husband, and a text came through from one of my parents. Clicked on it, not even paying attention, and I was talking about my stepson with my husband, and it kind of sounded like I was talking about their child.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I quickly realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That was meant to go to my husband. It's about my stepson. We're having some issues with him.
Wow,
and
man.
did they respond at all?
They did. It was actually near the end of the day, so I spoke to them in person. So I was able to clear it all up. And
Good.
Like, no, it's okay. We really understand.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. I just came through and I...
For that split second, Amanda, you may have thought, oh my God, I've lost my job.
Yeah, it's over.
This is,
Yeah.
this can quickly go south.
Dear honey, I'm staying late. I'm going to fart in my boss's chair.
Well, I'm glad it worked out all right for you, though.
Jesus.
But thank you, Amanda. Yeah, one little thing.
that panic, that your blood just drops in your body. There's nothing worse.
There's so many things about cell phones, smartphones, touchscreens, things like that drive me crazy. If you're going through your contacts, say, or you're just searching and looking for something, and as you put your finger on the screen to scroll, it activates a call,
You call.
to someone that you do not want to call, and you're like, it doesn't matter how quickly you hang up, it registers as a missed call on there.
Preston, did you call me?
Yeah.
And no.
I wish that there was a feature that
Gave you a few seconds?
A few seconds.
Yeah.
Either that or a second verification of, are you sure you want to call? Maybe that'd be a bit much, but maybe it gives a it won't register as a missed call if it's been less than 3 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, I wonder how they would do that, because you can do it with the text, obviously, but with a call. But I agree, it happens quite often.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you would remedy that, because the whole purpose of the contacts page like that is to expedite calling.
Yeah.
You're I want this person, but sometimes it's way too sensitive.
And if it's somebody I really don't want to talk to, I as quickly as possibly can text over, but dial sorry, something like that.
Yeah.
And just
Hi, it's Kathy. You called me?
Try and nip it in the bud.
Preston, what just occurred to me is that scene in Succession where Roman sends the
oh my God
D-pic to his dad, and he means to send it to Jerry.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then he's
It's
across the table.
best. It's a meeting scene,
Yeah.
Steve. They're in a board meeting, and he's sitting there. He's sending these naughty texts. Sorry to be a spoiler alert here. And you hear he sends it, and then you hear ding at the other end of the conference room. It's his dad's phone. He's like, his eyes just go wide, like, oh my God.
That's great.
It is one of my favorite scenes. It's just the best. Here's a text that says, I sent,
Starts here, sorry.
Oh, I meant to send a picture of my ass to my husband, who was across the room from me. And when I realized he wasn't reacting, I checked the text, and to my horror, I sent it to my coworker's group chat.
Oh, man.
He laughed his ass off at the mix-up, and I was mortified. I immediately had the two ladies calling me, laughing, and we made everyone delete the text. The 3 other guys in the chat missed the picture and only found out as I was quitting that the picture was ever sent by mistake. Oh, that's funny.
That's a tough one. You're going to have to go on the honor system. Hey, guys, that was an accident. Could I ask you all to delete that?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yep. I will go over to Kate next. Hi, Kate. Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up, Kate?
Okay, so probably 4 years ago, I was in a group text with a bunch of my friends, probably like 6 or 7, and non-iPhone users, so everything was green. And my one friend started to tell a story about how her dog, got out of her backyard and ended up biting somebody. And at the time, I thought she had too many animals, so I started a text on the side with a few of those friends that just had iPhones, like, not a chance that dog wasn't locked up all day long and just busted out. And the text turned green, and my butt fell out of my butt. And I knew, I was like, oh, God. And I was like, what do I do? And that sheer panic set in. And I was like, I was talking about my dog, Mac. And, there was no coming back from it. And she cursed me out in front of everybody in the group chat. And she blocked me on Instagram. She blocked me on Facebook. We didn't talk for years until I had a baby, and she congratulated me. It was bad. But
it was bad.
Yeah, there was no coming back from that.
That's right. Yeah. When you're getting a text from, if you're on iPhone, you get a text from an Android user, it appears green, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Normally they're blue. Yeah, that can lead to a whole bunch of crap too.
Did you guys bury the hatchet, become friends again, or?
We never talked about it. And since then, my dad passed, she showed up at the viewing. So all is well, but it was years we didn't talk, and we were best friends all of high school.
Well, you know what it is? The dynamic there, Kate, is that it is a very intimate sort of, the people that you're communicating with are people in your friend sphere and all that stuff. And so it's, it's like, that's why I think it's so funny with you, Kathy, and this is just simply a contractor, and she's freaking out your friend.
Out.
Just say, I screwed up. That was meant for somebody else.
Yeah.
And kind of laugh.
The contractor's not going to give a rat's ass.
It's not terrible. It's not good, but it's not terrible.
Right.
Paraphrase it again, just so if people are aware.
All you do is talk about your D and T's
and sex.
You
have no depth.
You have no depth.
I
like that, though.
You're on a job site?
That's good. Yes, Marissa.
Just out of curiosity, did she end up sending that to the right person?
Oh, yeah.
She told the right person, and he was like, good. He was like, I'm glad that you sent it to the other guy.
Wow. All right. Joe has been on hold for quite some time. Let me go to him. Hi, Joe. Good morning.
I'm such a creep.
What's up?
We're family text. Me, my wife, and my daughter were in a family text, and it was a Friday night about a few years ago. I'd say about 6 years ago, whatever. Decided to send my wife some naughty, dirty pictures of just random things I wanted to do to her that night.
Right.
Well, I accidentally sent it to the group chat text between me and my daughter and my wife.
Oh no!
You sent it to the family chat.
Oh
Well,
no!
thank God my daughter was in the shower at the time. She left her phone in her room, so I snuck in her room and broke her phone.
You actually broke her phone.
I had no choice because it was locked.
Yeah, you made the right call.
Yeah,
that's absolutely buy a new phone, destroy that. That was absolutely the right move.
$1,000 iPhone.
Yeah.
Was it an iPhone?
It was an iPhone, and I didn't really care.
Wait a minute. Did she have an iCloud account?
Yeah, it would have come back.
I don't know. I don't want to think about this.
Yeah, what you're gonna have to do is just put it back on, and it would come back up on the new phone.
Oh my!
Hey, Dad, nice tea pic.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. But I guess, yeah. Although, as a parent, you could say, all right, give it to me. You could level and say, look, I sent you something I wasn't supposed to send. Give me your pass.
Yeah.
Open it up. I'm going to delete it.
This is meant for your friend.
Or you just destroy your phone. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is meant for your sister.
I will go to Mike next. Hi, Mike. Morning, bud.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So this involves an iPhone and an iPad in a divorce, right? Okay. And Find My Phone, right? So during my divorce, my ex and I had an arrangement that she can go to the house to get furniture, right? I won't be there, right? So she's in the house one day. My iPad is in the house, right? And when I got all the iPhone and the iPad, I connected all that, that sync shit and all that. Hold
on. You can't say that word. All right. So you synced all these devices together.
Yeah. So I'm texting. Now I'm texting. I'm out. Like I said, I'm out texting, and I'm texting two people pretty raspy. So I get back to the house, and she's gone. And, a couple hours later, I get back to the house, and I'm like, where's my iPad? Right? So I'm like, what it's usually on my office. I'm like, where's my iPad? Right? So I can't find it. So I go to that little Find My Phone connection pad thing, and my iPad is going up I-95. I see it on the screen going up I-95, and I'm like, bring me my iPad back now. And she's like, I knew you were blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you have 15 minutes to return it. And she took it and she brought it back and threw it on the front lawn.
So was there incriminating stuff on your?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm heading to divorce court. I'm like, bring it back now.
Wow, man! Because they always tell you,
Mike.
make sure you get control of all that stuff.
A little bit of a different story there, but yeah, your device is all synced up.
Movie with Jason Segel where they put some sex pictures up on their
on the cloud or whatever.
On the cloud, yeah. He didn't realize he sent it through to the cloud. This is the exact story.
I don't remember. Not sure,
but it's the exact same thing where you think you've eliminated it off your phone, but you sent it up to the cloud.
Let me go over here to Brittany. We got to take a break here in a second. Hi, Brittany. Good morning.
Hey, bitches.
Hey, what? What's up, Britt?
Hey, so Cardboard Classic Day, but it was post-Cardboard Classic. My husband accidentally clogged the Airbnb's toilet, and I went to text one of my girlfriends to tell her that, he just clogged the toilet, and now he has to ask the homeowners for a plunger. Mm-hmm. But then I realized I accidentally texted our friend group that my husband is in right after one of our friends said, oh, my girlfriend's apartment caught on fire, and sent us all these horrible pictures. And I was one of the only ones who didn't react to that yet. And then I had to say, oops, wrong message.
So you don't respond to the fire, but you respond back with pictures of the clogged toilet.
Sorry you lost everything, but my husband clogged the toilet.
Enough of that. My husband clogged a toilet.
By the way, so sorry about that fire.
Yeah. Oh, my God, that's great. I love it. All right, thank you, Brittany. Appreciate it. Here's a text. My husband had asked me, while I was at work, send him a picture of my boobs. And I already had a picture. So I went to my photos and sent it. My husband and manager's name are both Jay. I sent it to, scroll up, Nick. I sent it to the manager, Jay, and I left the job on the spot. So that was it. Yeah. So
My
right
God.
after sending it, they couldn't handle it. They were mortified and they quit right then and there. Wow.
Well, maybe get a raise.
Well, Kathy, I want to follow up on what happens with your friend.
I'll let you know Wednesday.
And this little loop that they're in, because that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's too much.
Your best bet is just to fess up immediately.
Yeah, and just laugh about it.
You almost want to do an intervention and just call the guy and explain what happened.
Calling and speaking to someone can make a big difference, by the way.
I just screwed up.
Yeah, instead of texting. All right. Thank you for sharing. We do appreciate it. We have to take a break because Joe Coy is going to be joining us in the next 10 minutes or so. He's going to be playing the Wells Fargo Center on the 22nd. So we'll spend some time with him and see what else we can do, too. We'll be right back.
Metro traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
Thank you, Kathy. Our next guest is going to be in Philadelphia March 22nd. He's playing The Big Room, the Wells Fargo Center. Why is he playing The Big Room? Because he can sell out The Big Room.
Yeah.
And he does.
All the time.
We are happy to welcome to our program this morning Mr. Joe Coy.
Yeah.
So let's give him some love. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Look what I'm trying to set this thing up, man.
Oh, now we can see you now.
Now we can see you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Listen, we've had some interviews before where people don't want to be seen via Zoom, and we're like,
it's okay.
whatever,
Yeah.
you know. We'd rather see you though, so this is good.
How are you?
Doing well. You know, I was just saying to Preston, Joe, I just watched for the first time Easter Sunday, and I just wanted to bring up the fact that I really enjoyed that movie, a family movie. It was a big love project for you. I didn't realize was Spielberg behind that, was he not? Did he help produce that? How did that happen?
That was the coolest thing. He was watching my second special, Coming in Hot, and he was he gave me a call right after he watched it and brought me in for a meeting, and I pitched Easter Sunday. I said I wanted to make a movie about my family, and he was all about it. I pitched it, and next thing you know, 6 months later, we were shooting it.
That's got to be a mind blower because, it's friggin' Spielberg. So you probably thought, okay, this is step one in about 200 steps, but they were ready to commit, right?
Yeah, that was the craziest thing. My agent said that they worked with Amblin before, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is going to be years, and it's going to be a long process, Joe." And it was like 6 months later, we were already shooting.
Wow!
It was like we were already on location or whatever. It was pretty crazy.
I think the thing that is what catches me about it is because obviously you talk about your heritage and your family and Tia Carrera's in it and everything, but it's funny at a basic level, all families have innate things that are similar, and I found myself laughing at things that I'm sure are just it just translates, it just cuts across. That seems to drive a lot of your comedy. That's how you're selling out these big rooms.
Yeah, that was the thing that sold him the most. Is he loved the fact that yes, my mom is Filipino, but it was just the story of her just being a mom.
Yeah,
just all moms do the same thing. It doesn't matter what ethnicity, what accent, it doesn't matter. Moms are moms, and kids are going to be stupid kids.
I dated a girl for a couple of years who was Filipino, and I had no idea how strong the Catholic religion is in the Philippines. I found out firsthand because her parents hated me because I was not Catholic and I was Caucasian, and I think that kind of went against what they were wanted for their daughter. But so I need to see this movie because does it focus around Catholicism and Easter and all of that as well?
I think what it was is I just wanted to make a movie that, the one thing that I always remembered as a kid is Easter Sunday was a big thing for the whole family to gather.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show that part, that this is the big day for all of us. And I just wanted to make a movie where I can finally represent our culture and give ourselves a voice on the big screen. And I thought that was kind of cool. That's why when I had Tia Carrera on and Lou Diamond Phillips, they've been in this game for over 40 years, and they never, not once, ever auditioned or even played a Filipino. And I thought that was kind of cool. And the cool thing was that it was a big studio, so that was the most important. That it was an Amblin, and it was a Universal that was actually producing this movie.
Well,
I will say this: that Lou Diamond did self-produce a movie about Filipinos, so I will say that. But this was the first time that it was a major studio like a Universal and Amblin.
Yeah, the whole vibe to me is like it could be Thanksgiving. It could be any situation in which all the family gets together under the pretense of a joyous occasion, and warts come out and everything, and so that's that's what connects us all, because that's. Everyone goes through that sort of stuff, but there's what comes to also is your love for your family. And correct, you have a big family. Do you not take them on vacation like all together every year?
Every year, man.
I mean, how many people?
I take all the nieces and nephews, so it's about 14.
Wow.
All expense paid too. Like, I mean, these kids live their best life, man, for like 2 weeks, but that's what I work hard for, man, just to see them shine and get close. And, that's one thing that I didn't have when I was a kid. We, with the divorce of my mom and dad, our families were kind of just separated. And, I never got to have that childhood, those summer vacations. So when I got to that level where I could take all the kids out, I started doing it. And I started doing it like when they were like 9 and 10.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, it's very cool. Yeah.
Any other aspiring comedians or entertainers amongst the crew?
I really think my son should be a comic, honestly. I take him on the road all the time. He's funnier than half of us in the room. And, even my opener said, you got to get on stage. And I keep hinting that, to my son, like, just get on stage. But he doesn't want to do it. I have a nephew that's doing stand-up right now. And, he's pretty good. But I really want to see my son hit this stage.
I think it's cool that you want to, kind of cultivate them into that. Your mom, correct me if I'm wrong, allowed you to see Eddie Murphy Raw when you were 15, right?
Yeah, she didn't allow me. I bought the tickets on my own behind her back.
And was that the epiphany? Was that the bolt of lightning that said to you, I want to do that?
Yeah, when I was it was called the Seattle Coliseum at the time. And I remember just seeing him on stage, and Paul Mooney was on stage. He opened for him. And remember, this is before the internet or anything. So just seeing those two guys on stage was just mind-blowing. So I didn't even know what this world was. And I just remember when I graduated, I was going to do it. And then next thing you know, here I am selling out the same Coliseum I saw him in. And that was like
that's got to be wild moment. So to that point, and you have this reputation now of selling out big arenas and consistently so. And in fact, you have records in some areas for the amount of consecutive shows. Obviously, when you started, you weren't doing that.
No.
Was it an easy port from the stage to an arena or a stadium for you?
I think, when you go from comedy club to theater, that's the biggest jump. And then you do these multiple theaters, and that's kind of crazy. The arena becomes a business. It's, like the theater, you have to rent it out. But the arena, it's just like, I have to pay for the staff just to sell popcorn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have to pay for the lights to come on. I got to buy a stage. The theater, there's already a stage. An arena comes empty. I'm just buying nothing but a roof. That's it. So that's the craziest part about the arena is just like the whole risk of just having to fill those seats and also pay for every single thing that's in there.
We're friends with Bert Kreischer, and Kreischer was just here. Same arena.
Him.
Yeah, and he talked about that, the overhead of moving everything in and setting it up. But now that you're in it, now it's a medium that you work well in and a venue that you work well in. Are you always looking for new tech? It's weird because you start with the audience up close, and then as you progress, they're going further back, and now the technology is working to bring that large audience back in.
Yeah.
And so
and I have to pay for all of it. We just switched our IMAGs too. So I used to go with the flat IMAGs. Now I'm going with the 14-foot and the 12-foot wide or whatever it is, man. It's massive now. It's just this whole thing. And I had to buy more speakers, and it's crazy, man. The semis, it's just like sometimes, my son and I just look at all these speakers being rolled in and my name's duct taped on it, and I'm just like, is this for real? Like,
this is amazing.
You need to go crew. Like, that's what this is supposed to be.
You need to go full Kiss and spit blood and shoot fire and blow things up.
Yeah. I got full pyro, man. It's nuts.
I mean,
when they say my name, I fall from the ceiling on a bungee cord.
with your Kiss boots on. No, I mean, listen, it's well deserved. It's just funny though, because knowing your comedy, and there's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of face stuff going on, and I mean, you got to make sure that translates.
Man.
Your mom is fascinating. I think in the she was very protective of you apparently, but she wanted to get you out, and would she kind of make you? This is the story. You can verify or deny it. Would make you like break dance in the mall for audiences and stuff like that.
Oh, I did everything, man. Yeah, she put me on. Back then, I always tell these kids, to find your community now, you can just go to Facebook, you can go to Instagram, you can go to whatever it is that they're on, whatever social platform that they're on. Back then, my mom had none of that. My mom had church. And then she would go to church. She would look for people that look like her. And then at the end of, at the end of church, she would walk up to people and introduce herself. And that's how she built her community. And we would rent out these little things that were attached to the church. It was called the Knights of Columbus Hall. And my mom would rent these Columbus Hall, these venues out, and all the Filipinos would do potluck and talent shows. And of course, I was talent in the show.
Well, was she a performer? She ever performed in her life? It's because no,
really. Oh, she was an MC. She loved to talk.
Yeah.
But she always she loved getting people to do stuff. So that was her thing, man. She still does. She has a radio show that I pay for in Vegas.
Oh my God.
What is the craziest thing? I'm paying for the whole thing. She still does it.
What does she do on the show?
She does talk radio.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
For a Filipino audience?
Yeah, strictly for She does it. And it's great, man. She's got a huge following, and people, I love it. I love it. It's beautiful to see my mom do stuff like this.
My mom will do this thing when if we're out to lunch or something like that, and the server comes over, she will go. So to the server comes over, she'll go. So do you listen to the radio? And I'll just be like, Mom, don't. Is your mom one of those, like your biggest promoter?
Oh, yeah. My mom likes to say stuff like, they're your biggest fans, Joe. I need 75 tickets. I'm like, are you doing the math? Are you doing the math?
You would do a bit, you talked about how she got, you don't want to be a clown. She classified, she would say stand-up is sort of akin to being a clown.
And then she didn't understand it.
Yeah.
She just didn't get it. And always go to college. She didn't understand that this was a dream that I've had since I was a kid. And in her reality, it's like, this isn't, you're going to be homeless in about 2 more years.
Right.
And then when I got to the point where I bought her house, she's like, okay, you can be a clown. It's okay to be a clown.
You became a good clown at that point.
Yeah. It's the best clown in the world. You bought me a house. Well, please be a clown forever.
I love that. So Filipino food is legendary, is she on her game as far as her cooking?
No, not at all. But you know who loves Filipino food is Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel?
I'm good friends with Howie Mandel, and I brought him some food, and it was like he tried candy for the first time. It was so cool to see how he reacted, and he gave it to his wife, and then he was like, if you ever want to make a restaurant, let's do it, Joe Coy. Me and you, Filipino restaurant. So get ready for me and Howie to open up a restaurant real soon.
Do you not sell, do you have your own brand of, was it rice or
Yeah, I got all that.
Yeah.
I got my hands tapped at everything. I got rice. I got all kinds of stuff right now. I got my own drink coming out. I got water coming out. You know what I mean?
You might as well, man.
Why not?
I'll tell you this. So growing up, we had a Filipino family in the neighborhood, and I remember you talk about the potluck. The potluck was a big thing, and the food was always tremendous. You work out, right? Your diet's good, and you practice jujitsu.
I dabble.
You dabble?
You're so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mika. Yeah, he's our professor, but he's really good, man.
Yeah.
So it's fun to do it. My son's really getting good at it, and he threw his shoulder out, and now we might have to do some we might have to get some work done on his shoulder, man.
How old is he, Joe?
It's not good. He's 20 now.
Oh man, can he kick your ass?
Yeah, and he's yeah. Well, no, we go at it. We go at it. Dad still taps him out. So.
Okay, all right. Because when the line is crossed of son can kick dad's ass, it's
you know, that's so funny you said that because I was like, when you're 20, you got to start paying for your own lessons because if you kick my ass, I paid for you to kick my ass.
Yeah,
you can't have that.
That doesn't make any sense.
I can't have that. I paid for this ass beating. What?
So in that, do you ever? Because there's some. I was blown away to learn that Ed O'Neill is like he's like a massive lifelong practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever like Joe Rogan or anybody? Have you ever sparred with or?
No, not at all, man. I'm out of Vegas, so that's where I'm at. So that's where I train at.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not nowhere in LA.
All right, yeah.
Dude, how long have you been in Vegas, Joe?
My whole life. I got a house out there, and I also have one here in LA. So
no kidding.
I started stand up in Vegas. I started in 1989, so that's where it all started for me.
Okay.
And my family's out there, so I got a house out there too.
It seems like that'd be a great spot to start stand-up. There'd be a lot of stages for you to access.
Nah, not in 89.
No.
89, there were no stages.
Really?
None. Yeah. I'm telling you, like, trying to explain to, like, these up-and-coming comics, I'm like, man, you don't know how bad it was in the 80s, man. 89, 90 was bad. There was, they only booked headliners, even black comics, like, getting black comics on the strip was hard. You know what I mean? They weren't booking black headliners. They had to be off the strip or whatever.
Really?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of like the ethnic shows is what was really big back in the 90s and early 2000s. It was like, if you were a certain demo, you would play these certain nights. And that's how it was. And I literally would just rent out a theater. And
wow.
I was part of this thing called the Black College Comedy Tour. And that's how I met Mike Epps and JB Smooth and, Cedric and some more. Like I was part of this whole Black College Comedy Tour. We would literally tour colleges and I would play like the black sorority. It was black sorority, black fraternity would bring us out or whatever. And I would always be the other because it would be like, you couldn't just have an all black show. It had to have diversity and I would be other.
The other.
Hey, Joe.
I would be other.
Talking about Vegas, do you, you two just wrapped up at the Sphere and the Dead's going to be there with John Mayer and Fish is going to do 4 shows. Do you think a comedian
I just saw you too.
All right. So I want to ask you about that, what that experience was like. But do you think that a comedian like yourself or a Kreischer or whomever could play the Sphere?
Yeah,
Would that
they're
be a
already
good show?
talking to us about it. They're already talking to us about it. And yeah, right now I got T-Mobile Arena, booked for Vegas. It'll be my second time there. And and Spears already asked. They already reached out to us.
What would you do? I mean,
what kind of visual components?
Yeah, we've seen it only on video. And even that, when you see it on a phone.
Doesn't do it any justice, you guys. Does not do it any justice. You have to go see. It's the greatest show I've ever seen, I've ever witnessed. It's incredible.
I went out
and
last
I wish you guys would see U2 because U2 is the perfect fit.
Yeah.
For that show. It's just from the music to, and plus U2's always done that. They were always about UTV. You know what I mean? U2 TV, like it was always their thing. You remember, like this was like, it was a perfect marriage between the two. Man, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Honestly.
I went out last year. I just saw the movie that they played, though. I didn't get to actually see a concert, which was only like a third of the experience. Like, you're just seeing elephants walk by and all, but it was wonderful. Dude, someone's going to die there. With Fish and the Grateful Dead playing there, like those seats are so steep. And if one girl in high heels stands up, somebody's going to take a tumble.
Yo, you're still right about that, man. It's like, it's intense. It's intense. That I wish you would have seen U2.
I know. I'm so bummed. We talk about all the time.
What they did, huh?
Well, we're saying like Coldplay would be a great one out there too, with that kind of intensity.
The more theatrical bands can pull it off. I don't think you'd want like a Tori Amos, but you'd want like but obviously, yeah, you're right. U2, the ones that
I would love to see the Stones. Yeah, I would love to see the Stones only because I was Beatles would be good too. Because I'm just trying to think of music that they can.
Well, what about
that they can build? I'm just trying to think about video walls that they can build around the music and
like Pink Floyd,
also touch many generations because you want the young and and the older to come together and something like that. And I think those kind of guys would have the God, what am I trying to say?
The presentation. The catalog.
But what does it?
Catalog. That's the word.
What does a comedian do with that room, though? You know what I mean? As far as visuals go.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. When I was watching Bono, I mean, they had a 22-foot Bono on the damn wall, and it looked like Bono. It was like it was massive, and it was just like crystal clear. And yeah, they'll be able to do it real right. They'll make it look just right.
That's amazing. So
yeah, they'll do it.
In Vegas, it's funny you're talking about the earlier days and the side stages and all that sort of stuff. Has the environment changed? Is it more now accepting for? I know Kimmel has his comedy room out there, correct?
Yeah, there's a ton of comedy rooms out there now. It's beautiful now.
Right.
Now they have them off the strip too, so I love that too. So there's a lot of like local comedy clubs that are out there. There's Wise Guys Comedy Club that's out there, and I love that guy. You know what I mean? To see him bring his comedy club to Vegas, that's so cool.
Have you had a chance to take?
Before it was very strict back in the day. They were really like, if you play off the strip, you can count on never playing the strip again.
Wow.
It was kind of like this old mobster mentality,
Vegas is such an improbable city, and I think everyone, because the city itself, because it's in the middle of the desert, and it just shouldn't exist. Go ahead.
People don't know this. When I first moved to Vegas, I would do cold calls. I would call the Riviera Comedy Club, and I would pretend that I had, like 15 minutes, and I was just trying to get on. And I kept calling the Riviera Comedy Club, and this, the manager kept answering the phone, and he would always talk to me. And then finally, he just knew that it was just me, it was me calling all the time. And then finally, he was like, "Hey, kid, look, this is what you need to do. You need to go to LA. You need to, book like the Tonight Show, get that on videotape, submit that to me, let me look at it, and then I'll book you. All right, kid?" I was like, "All right, man, thank you." He goes, "All right, good luck." And then that was Steve Sharippa.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea it was Steve Sharippa. Yeah, Steve Sharippa used to book the Riviera Comedy Club in the 80s.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, who's played 9,000 mobsters in various, he's terrific. My dad, years ago, when he used to travel in and out of Vegas, was traveling at the time that the movie would be depicted in the movie Casino, where the mob, I don't know, what the mob level is right now, if it's more clandestine or whatever, but did you catch any of that? Have you ever had to deal with that?
No.
Okay, yeah. You came a little bit after that.
Yeah. I literally got there in 1989. But, I mean, I was there when old Vegas was still there.
Right.
So every single casino that you could think of was still there. And then I saw them all get imploded. You know what I mean? I saw the Dunes go down. I saw, Harrah's go down. I saw, all those... Not Harrah's. What was the
Sands?
Hacienda, the Sands, and Riviera. I saw all that stuff just get demolished.
I have to ask if I talk about. I'm fascinated by the Zach Baggins museum out there. The guy who does the ghost.
Oh no, I ain't going to that. I ain't going to that, man.
The guy.
There ain't enough sage in the world, bro. I believe in that.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
I ain't going.
Yeah. He just cracks me up that this. He gets like the ass hair of Charles Manson and puts it on display or whatever. But but Vegas has all that kind of weird, completely stuff that used to be relegated to roadside, in the middle of America, like the biggest ball of yarn. That all ends up now in Vegas in an actual establishment.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I'm not gonna lie though, the best restaurants are in Vegas. I mean, I love my town. I love my city. You know what I mean? And I love that they're finally getting, real city life now. Now they have they're getting their own baseball team now. They got the Raiders now, and they're about to get a basketball team. And it's like they deserve it because that town deserves it. And no one embraces hockey better than the Vegas Knights,
they're definitely showing it.
Yeah, they're doing it right.
Joe, what's your history with Philadelphia?
Philly. Here's the thing about Philly. I didn't know that AM radio still existed until I did Philly about 14 years ago. And they were like, "Let's do radio." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And they took me to an AM radio station. And I was like, "Wait a minute. this still exists? And I'm like, Billy, it does.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. And that's how cool the culture is in Philly. Like, you guys embrace that culture, and radio is still supreme. And I love that, because I always tell these comics coming up, respect radio. It's still king. It really is.
You know, it's funny you should say that, because we always talk about this, because there's so many podcasts, and every comedian has a podcast, and it becomes this sort of incestuous thing where everyone invites each other on each other's podcasts and tells the same stories. But we've had so many comedians come through here, and they'll say, you know what, that they sort of mimic a terrestrial radio kind of delivery where there's momentum, where there's actually planning. The old notion, and you have a podcast, you know what this is about. You got to have a plan. And so when I
don't do I don't have a podcast.
I thought you always have it with Joe with
No, I stopped a long time ago. I stopped like 5 years ago.
Okay, all right. So, but you've done it. You've dabbled.
I just want to focus on stand-up. That's my whole thing. I love stand-up.
Well, now that your stand-up comes in 18-wheelers, you probably need to devote as much time to that as possible. Yeah.
I always appreciated radio. I just love the way you guys do it. Like, it's just, I remember when I was first coming up in Vegas, and I was offered to be a morning show guy with the local station there. It was called 88.1 KCEP, and I turned it down. And the only reason why I turned it down is because I knew that I wanted to be a comic, and I didn't want to get tied down. So that's the only reason why I turned it down. But I was always in love with morning radio.
Think about it. Yeah, you could right this very day be doing public affairs on Las Vegas radio. Had you?
Yeah, just stuck with it.
Yeah, just stuck with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, but now you're playing the Wells Fargo Center. The show, by the way, is on March 22nd. And I know you've got a lot of fans here in Philadelphia, so I'm sure it'll do very, very well. But it's rapidly approaching. You can get tickets through wellsfargocenterphilly.com. So, man, listen, it's great to have you on our program, and we're glad you're coming to the city, and we're just happy for all your success, man. So thanks for
I love
on.
you guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much for letting me on.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you, buddy. All right, Joe Coy, guys. Take care of yourself, man. We'll see you soon. So, like I said, tickets available at wellsfargocenterphilly.com. That would be pretty wild, seeing a comedian at the Sphere, even though we've never been. Marissa's the only one of us that's actually been in that room. But you've seen videos. You get a pretty damn good idea of what the scope is like. Could you imagine being on stage and then looking up and seeing yourself, your own image?
Oh my God, I'd want to die.
Unreal.
I don't like seeing myself in photographs, much less. But I mean, so Marissa, to his point, to Joe's point, you said, would you describe it as beyond amazing, or have you seen like a good IMAX theater? Where does it fall in that
Steve, it's unreal.
pantheon?
I do recall the very first time that I went to the IMAX at the Franklin Institute.
Right.
And how I was blown
Similar
away by
sort of
that.
thing. Okay.
So blown away, but times a million.
Oh,
because
all right.
it's 360 degrees.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So you're looking in every way. And as he was saying it, I was thinking, some comedy shows now have a full band, and they have all of these, all of their openers and all going in and out. So maybe there is some sort of like variety act type thing that could be brought to a comedy show at the Sphere.
If you could exploit it, there was footage, Preston. I don't know if you saw it. They have this 4D theater that has this experience. For example, if there's fire on the screen, the fire will go up the walls and on the ceiling. Like, of course, it's not real. Right. But I think in the Sphere, you could exploit that, for comedic effect.
Oh God, yeah, I'm sure, absolutely. And if you can take like a handheld camera and hold it up to your mouth, and you're eating the entire audience or something like that. By the way, I would imagine that the first time experience here has got to be similar to the first time you ever put on a really good VR headset. And you're just like, whoa. And you're like looking all around, and you realize, I can turn any way that I want to at all.
I wonder if it would make me like nauseous though.
Some people have that, right?
Just close your eyes.
So no, but I mean, yes, for me, like an extended period of time with my eyes closed, I will get over the nauseousness. But even like at the Franklin Institute, some of that stuff will get me.
Yeah.
Steve, they do have some of the 4D experience where like the chair will shake. A little bit
in the
or
sphere?
some wind.
Really?
Yes,
Oh my! I didn't know. Oh,
I
Jesus
didn't know that.
Christ.
That's great.
A little bit of that. Kathy, the woman next to me, though, was like freaking out. She was sitting there and she had her hands clutched because I thought we were going to slip out a little early to kind of beat the crowd, and I was like, "There's no way we can get past this woman." She was. was locked in.
Can they run regular theatrical movies there? Obviously not eat up the whole screen, but.
As long as it's made for IMAX,
Right.
Like that, 300. Well, it wasn't 360. It was like a little more than 180.
So the old curved screens were Cinerama screens.
Uh-huh.
So you could have something like that. I assume though, whereas this is the opposite, where at the Sphere, if you're seeing a concert, you want to be further back, right, or further up.
Yes, you actually want to be as high as possible so you
Yeah.
can get as much of the experience.
I do want to go.
I'm sure somebody is making a movie for this.
Yeah,
at this point, right?
It's got to be formatted specifically for that. I mean, it's just so unique. They could probably, like you said, Steve, take a section of it,
Right,
with an IMAX movie or something like that. But to cover that whole screen, it's got to be made for that technology. It's why we're watching the videos.
Yeah, it's just
examples of it.
amazing.
Wow. All right. Well, listen, we have a couple of minutes to play with, and I would like to take a stroll on the streets of Philadelphia because I've been pounding the meat.
You've been pounding Pete?
I've been pounding the meat.
He's been pounding Pete
to
with
the
his
beat of the street.
beat with his feet.
Mm-hmm.
It is Preston Elliott.
Did Pete know that was coming?
No, he was looking the other way. He's pounding Pete.
So the city beat.
Then when Pete leaves, Mike comes in.
I thought this was pretty cool. There's a haunted house venue that is going to continue the year-round programming with St. Patrick's Day themed attraction. It's a St. Patrick's Day themed haunted house. This is a great idea.
I see this as I love the notion of these haunted attractions kicking in stuff, through the different seasons.
Yeah, so it's called the St. Patty's Nightmare at the end of the rainbow. It's at Lincoln Mill Haunted House, Main Street in Manioc. It's 4100 Main Street.
Yeah.
And this is their first ever St. Patrick's Day event.
I think this is a great idea.
So if you're doing a bar crawl and you want some St. Patty Day scares, you can do it. It's one night only this Saturday, the 16th. And you can expect Lincoln Mill to have a new green hue to it. Over 30 scare actors dressing up as Celtic mythology characters like leprechauns, banshees, and goblins. And the characters will be part of a new storyline. So before they did this, I didn't know they had done this as well, but Lincoln Mill hosted a Victor's Valentine haunted experience.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
So, stop and think about this. You could, obviously you've just come off your biggest season with Halloween, but if you were also extend and do something like, a Nightmare Before Christmas or...
Well, they've already done, done a themed Christmas and fall season as well. So I think it's brilliant.
I love
Why
it.
not?
Yeah.
As long as you can, if people can, that people will go to this.
By the way, that's the very building where we were working remotely together for the first time, Preston. This used to be the Riverdeck Cafe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
And
so
Grape Street.
There you go. So this is set up for this weekend. Only you can get tickets for St. Patty's Nightmare online. I don't have the web address, but they're limited. And attendees will choose one of 3 time slots to enter the attraction.
So, by the way, the Erin Express, we have St. Patrick's Day on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, does it all congeal into one weekend? Because a lot of times it would be, well, I don't know.
Well, it started this past weekend.
Yeah, they had the
Was
parade.
it? Okay.
The parade was
that shows you how oblivious I am to
But you know what? I don't get why they do the St. Patrick's Day parade. They'll do that regularly, like a week before St. Patrick's Day. They do that with Columbus Day as well, or...
I think they don't want to. They don't want to compete with like the craziness of actual St. Patty's Day.
Maybe that's it.
I think it probably just has, it's always Sunday before. And if it falls on a Sunday, it's still going to be the Sunday before. Erin Express was Saturday as well, too.
So
In the city.
this should be a kind of a fairly pandemonium level of St. Patrick's Day on the weekend, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Saturday?
Yeah,
Well, then the bars will get 2 weekends out of it.
Yeah. And then obviously we're going to be down in Clearwater.
We will be in Florida for the experience.
That's
so.
our new tradition.
Yeah.
St.
so
Patrick's Day
Florida
in
for the-
Clearwater.
I love it. All right, let me see. Got some other things to pound. Yeah. Muhammad Ali will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Why am I mentioning this in the City Beat? Well, it's going to take place during WrestleMania 40 that weekend, April 5th weekend in Philadelphia.
Which is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Ali was the special guest referee in the main event for the very first WrestleMania.
I would have to assume he's working on his speech, right?
Well, he's dead.
Oh, yeah.
He died in 2016. But he was, like I said, he was a special guest ref for the first WrestleMania, which was a tag team match featuring Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Ali's one of the, of course, all-time great boxers, but he delivered a right hand to Piper's chin. One of the many indelible moments the heavyweight champion created at New York's Madison Square Garden, but they're going to induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame.
That's
here.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Also, he was a, you remember this, Steve, in June 1976, he faced Japanese legend Antonio Inoki.
Yes.
At the War of the Worlds exhibition match in Tokyo. And Ali Inoki was a seminal event that's still celebrated today. The mixed rules match is credited as a precursor to the explosion of MMA. And all these years later, apparently Inoki was, I think he was in the WWE Hall of Fame as well.
He also faced off against Ali against Bobby Fischer. Do you remember that?
No, the chess kid?
The chess.
I had no idea.
Champion legend.
So that's taking place at WrestleMania, April 5th, which is pretty cool.
I think the amount of promotion for that event, and obviously this is a big wrestling town, and our friend, Drew Gulak, who's, is local, has his wrestling school. There's a lot of preparation going on for this thing, but the eyes of the wrestling world and then some will be on Philadelphia.
Yep. All right, let's see what else we got here. Following his breakout role in the Oscar-nominated film The Holdovers, South Jersey native actor Dominic Sessa is poised to take on his next big screen role. He's going to star with Rose Byrne and Demi Lovato in a drama called Toe.
Toe?
Yeah, T-O-W.
Is that part of a 10-movie series?
No.
Oh, no, it's not Toe as in... Okay, I got you.
No.
T-O-W.
T-O-W.
Okay.
So the film will depict the true story of Amanda Ogle, an unhoused Seattle woman who entered a legal battle with a towing company that impounded her car after it was stolen and demanded $21,000 to return it.
I don't doubt it.
She will serve as executive producer on the film. And Sessa, by the way, was born in Cherry Hill. Grew up in Egg Harbor Township in Ocean City. He was a senior at the Massachusetts boarding school Deerfield Academy when he earned his first movie role as the troubled teen Angus Tully in The Holdovers.
He's really good in the movie.
Which was using his school as a filming location.
Yeah, you saw it, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's great, and that's his first
first movie. That blows my mind.
He was born in 2002. Knock it off.
And obviously a couple of Oscar nominations out of that film. He earned rave reviews. New York Times critic Wesley Morris called him a natural. He also received the Critics' Choice Award for Best Young Actor, a BAFTA nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
Does he mention us?
And an Independent Spirit Award win for Breakthrough Performance. He continues generating buzz online for his talent, fashion sense, and floppy-haired good looks. While he claims to be ignorant to social media, he did tell GQ that he hopes to bring sideburns back, acknowledging his signature hairstyle. And he also thinks that's part of the reason that he got the role, because he legit had sideburns, and it takes place in like 1969, 1970.
I think we're having a nice period of people going on to success, obviously with Oscar nominations and people coming out of the area.
Yeah.
We were a little dry for a while, but now it's starting to hit a good stride.
Yep. So I thought that was pretty cool, worth mentioning. Here's another City Beat story that I wanted to pass along. Actually, Steve, you sent this over to me. There's a guy named Van Wagner. He's on a quest to visit the highest points of elevation in all 67 counties in Pennsylvania and then climb the tallest tree that he can find nearby.
Okay. It's pretty wild.
So the guy goes to all the counties and he climbs the tree at the highest point.
I like he's, pro level, but were you a tree climber as a kid?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Loved climbing trees.
So I loved climbing trees, and I would climb up very high. Do you remember every once in a while, though?
Too high.
You get a little panic.
Would you get stuck?
How do I get down?
How do you get back down?
I always remember, we had a tree in our front yard. And it was a great climbing tree. I used to climb it, my brothers, but I remember kids in the neighborhood and maybe even my brothers occasionally getting stuck and like my dad having to come out and climb up and get them.
Yeah, well, there'll come a point, I think, in any tree climber's life where you ascend and then realize, I forgot how I got here.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Without question. So he says the idea is to engage with other tree lovers, post inspiring messages on social media, and raise awareness of our forests and our trees and animals within them.
Wasn't that Penn professor loving a tree when they caught him?
Penn State.
Oh, it's Penn State. Okay.
It's getting people to get outside and get familiar with their mountains and their forests. In the span of about 15 minutes on Saturday afternoon, he went up 50 feet of a 100-foot elm tree on the grounds of Chestnut Hill Baptist College on Bethlehem Pike. So at 500 feet above sea level, he crossed Philadelphia County off of his latest highest climbs. Earlier that morning, he went up to a cherry tree in Newtown Township to add Delco. And then he made a climb in Chester County last year. So only Bucks and Montgomery counties are left in the southeast Pennsylvania region. So he'll take a crack at those if he can. All right, and then we'll do one more quick story and wrap it up. I thought this would be a nice one to end on. Next week, a gentleman by the name of Benjamin Barry will accept a prestigious award also given to Dwight D. Eisenhower, James Baldwin, and Eleanor Roosevelt. The 100-year-old World War II veteran will receive the Legion of Honor, the highest distinction from France.
Wow.
Barry was part of the Allied invasion in the country during the Nazis' occupation and served in the Battle of the Bulge, which was a brutal conflict that helped end the war.
Absolutely.
Barry, who grew up in Willow Grove, was 19 when he was drafted into the Army. He was assigned to a segregated unit within the Quartermaster Corps, which transported food, gas, and other supplies to Allied troops. After completing basic training, he was sent to England and then France, landing on Omaha Beach roughly 3 weeks after D-Day. He joined Allied forces in the Ardennes forest for the Battle of the Bulge.
Jeez.
It was during a frigid winter.
Yeah.
The thwarted German offensive was Hitler's failed attempt to beat the Allies back and proved to be one of the bloodiest battles of the war. So after that battle in early 1945, Barry then helped liberate Dachau concentration camp. And then when the war in Europe ended, he and his unit were sent home to the U.S. for 30 days, and then they sent them to Japan. The men were in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when the war concluded for good.
That is amazing.
And he was a corporal when he was discharged. He settled in Germantown with his new wife, Lois Miller Graves. They raised 4 children. Barry had already received the Order of Merit of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg in 2021 and was inducted into the Quartermaster Hall of Fame in 2022. And while about 2,000 French citizens claim the Legion of Honor each year, only about 300 foreigners do, and he happens to be
Did they mention whether or not he's been to the Sphere?
No.
Okay.
They did not, but I would hope that he has.
There's a photo of him here, Preston, from PhillyVoice.com, and this is a photo from 2023. This dude's 100.
Does not. I was thinking the same thing.
That's great.
It's unbelievable.
Nick, he does not look 100 years old.
I'd love to chat with this guy.
Yeah, so congratulations.
What a hero, man. That's so cool.
Maybe Keenan's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll do...
well, he wants to do 6 jars of farts. I know that.
We can maybe whip that one out.
That is an amazing life.
Yep. So congratulations, sir. All right, and that's it for the City Beat.
Wow.
Wrapping it up right then and there.
Time to bang Pete.
And we'll go bang Pete. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in a second. Some Bizarre File stories. Don't forget Tattoo Day. Text word tattoo 39333. Back in just a moment.
3 WMMR.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by Dermatology Associates at Plymouth Meeting, recruiting for a non-segmental vitiligo study to test an investigational medication. Adults 18 and older can register. Go to PlymouthMeetingDermatology.com.
How's my skin look?
It looks beautiful.
They started me on a new.
Them.
They started me on a new skincare.
It's luminous.
Oh, what's your regime?
It is. I added a little retinol and a little vitamin C to my moisturizer, Preston.
All right, very good. Keep us. We'll do a weekly update on that.
Actually, I'm going to do a before and after picture on my social media.
I want to see that.
It took away my sunspots.
All right, so
let's work on succulents.
A Texas woman has been arrested after her son's alleged bully was sent to the hospital after having consumed an intentionally mixed sports drink. Jennifer Lynn Rossi mixed lemon, salt, and vinegar into a sports drink bottle to prevent her son's drink from being stolen at school by others.
And the bully would steal his drink?
Yeah, so she put this in there.
Slipped him a Mickey.
Her 10-year-old son handed the bottle to another boy during PE class on Tuesday. It is said that he experienced nausea and headache shortly after he drank the mixed concoction. Deputies were then called for the sick child. Although lemon, salt, and vinegar are non-toxic, the incident resulted in the victim being hospitalized for additional medical monitoring, authorities said. The student was eventually discharged. When the school principal contacted Rossi, she admitted having intentionally mixed the contents of the drink after having heard from her son that the victim stole his drink and was bullying him.
Now, he would never have encountered the drink had he not stolen the drink and bullied the kid.
The kid might have given it to him this time around.
Oh, well, there's the issue.
The son recounted in a written statement that his prime drink went missing during recess the day before, and that the victim said that he had it and was bragging about it. After he went home to tell his mom about the incident, she had an idea to prank the alleged bully and did what he was told by his mother. The victim said that the son accused him of, and someone tried to hit him for allegedly taking the drink. Rossi said that she only intended to stop her child from being bullied and that she is a nurse and knows that the mixture is non-toxic.
Innocuous, yeah.
But after the victim poured the mixed concoction into his water bottle and took a large sip of the drink, he then started feeling bad. So she was charged with injury to a child causing bodily injury.
Wow.
I am siding with the mom on this one.
I kind of am.
If the story is true about this other kid and stealing and being a bully, then I'm,
Well, also, it's not lethal. It's not poison. It's just something that's unpleasant.
Yeah.
So but if the kid, now the one thing that you said is if the kid said, "Here, drink this," or
yeah, I don't know.
But even still,
yeah. So we'll wait and see.
Hell.
Hopefully there'll be a follow-up on this.
And I'm a lawyer.
I'll pass that along to you. A skier died after she fell nearly 600 feet down an icy ravine on Mount Washington in New Hampshire over the weekend.
Wow.
The woman and two others were backcountry skiing on Saturday. Authorities said 20-year-old Madison Salzberg was killed. The skier suffered fatal traumatic injuries. And it was after falling down Tuckerman Ravine. The two survivors suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The three faced hard, icy snow surfaces, open crevasse holes, and unforgiving conditions for slipping and falling.
I hate crevasse holes.
The U.S. Forest Service and Mount Washington Avalanche Center conducted a rescue effort to evacuate Salzburg off the mountain. They said the Avalanche Center Snow Ranger team worked another situation Saturday in which two other skiers sustained traumatic injuries from rocks and ice. The director of the Mount Washington Avalanche Center said that Saturday was an unusually busy day with an elevated sense of emergency to it. So I've never been there. I know Casey's been there. Nick, have you been before?
I have. I've hiked it a couple of times.
Mount Washington?
Yeah. It always surprises me that deaths like this can happen on East Coast mountains.
Yeah.
Like you think about backcountry skiing, and my mind automatically goes to a western slope, but it can happen in Mount Washington as well.
Am I wrong to say, Preston, that a fall of 600 feet wouldn't normally kill someone?
Probably not. But at Mount Washington, your days are numbered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even at 600 feet.
Even at 600 feet.
All right, this is from a few days ago, but I wanted to pass this along. The crew of what is considered the world's largest cruise ship rescued 14 people clinging to a small boat adrift in the ocean.
Wow.
Passengers aboard the Icon of the Seas captured video of the crew using a small vessel to ferry the group to safety to the cruise ship on Sunday. The cruise had begun in Miami. The ship was headed for Honduras when the rescue happened. The ship encountered the small vessel adrift and in need of assistance. The crew immediately launched a rescue operation.
We hope you folks like the music of Buster Poindexter.
Safely bringing 14 people on board. The crew provided them with medical attention and were working closely with the U.S. Coast Guard. The crew had broadcast Code Oscar, Code Oscar, Code Oscar over the loudspeaker.
And obviously, Odd Couple fans.
And people on the tiny craft waved a large white flag. The boat turned about. And the rep said, we pulled up as close as we could and then stopped, and the cruise ship then launched a small Zodiac-type rescue boat to investigate.
So that's needle in the haystack. The odds of that happening is,
Well, Steve, when I was in grade school, we were on a family cruise, and we stopped to
rescue people?
Yes. Well,
really?
They refused to get on the boat.
What?
I don't know.
No, this is on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know where they were coming from. We were in the Caribbean, and they chose not to come on the boat. And
That's
they
insane.
went on, yeah.
Well, these guys got on the Icon of the Seas, which is the largest cruise ship in the world. It can host 5,600 guests and 2,300 crew members, and has 2,800 staterooms and 18 guest decks and 7 swimming pools.
I'd rather drink that drink in the first story than get on a cruise ship with 6,000 people.
All right, then we'll do one more story. The attorney from a former doctor in Kentucky accused of hiring a hitman to kill her ex-husband are trying to prove that she was delusional and acting under extreme emotional disturbance in fear of her children's safety at the time of the crime. As proof, the defense recently included text messages that Stephanie Russell sent a Brazilian spiritual healer saying she was looking for a death spell for her ex-husband, asking how much it would cost and whether a sacrifice would be used.
P.S. All you think about is your D, your T's,
Sex.
and sex.
The unnamed woman responded to the price rate would depend on the number of people involved, but that she had 85% death rate and that it could be done within hours using voodoo. The woman also promised a 100% guarantee of Russell's money would be returned.
What's your death rate?
When asked by Russell what kind of spell would be used, the healer replied, "It's a death spell, my dear, not a love spell."
Don't be fooled by imitators.
She said, "I can't tell you the details, but I will do your job." The alleged healer asked if Russell wanted the death to be an accident, death in bed, or heart attack. Russell said she didn't care and gave the woman her ex-husband's name and a photo. In addition, the attorneys have included expert medical testimony that Russell's mental condition left her unable to attain the culpable state of mind required by the criminal charges in this case, and that she became increasingly delusional when she believed her 2 children had been neglected or abused by her estranged husband.
It's amazing.
She is scheduled to stand trial on April 22nd on a federal charge of murder for hire stalking. She had allegedly paid an undercover FBI agent who was posing as a hitman to kill her husband too.
That site? Remember you talk about it frequently about the hitman for hire, basically.
Yep,
captures more people seriously trying to hire hitmen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
all right, and there you go. That's what I have in the bizarre file for you. This morning, let us take a break. Come back in a second. We'll test your knowledge of the show today with a lesson question. We'll also get trash and music news. A lot of stuff there. Back in a moment. Stay with us. The Steve Show Tuesday morning. Getting close to the end. So if you haven't done it yet, text the word tattoo to 39333. We're giving away a $50 gift card to Floating World Tattoo and Piercing, 1729 South Street in Philadelphia. Join the club, get the ink, and we'll see if you end up winning here in a little while. We have some other things that you can win at this very moment. A lesson question, tickets to the 25th Annual Greater Philadelphia Boat Show this weekend at the Expo Center at Oaks. It's a 4-pack of tickets. And, all right, we'll go with who was I pounding after I was done pounding the Pete? When I was doing the city beat. Who was Preston pounding after he was done pounding the Pete?
Yeah.
215-263 WMMR. That was just a little while ago.
Yeah, that happened.
See if you know the answer to that. And while you're calling in, we'll do the trash.
The trash business is a gold mine. 93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
Brought to you by Natural Lawn of America. Natural Lawn has been creating green lawns quickly, more naturally, and with fewer weeds since 1987. Get free seeding every year. Call 800-FREE-SEED now. What's happening, Steve?
Well, Colombian heartthrob singer Maluma announcing the birth of a baby daughter with girlfriend Susana Gomez. Maluma issued a statement saying, quote, "Donde está la bandera?" or "Where is the laundromat?" Madonna stepping in it after calling out a front row fan for sitting during her show, not realizing the woman was in a wheelchair. The singer later made up for it by gifting her with a pair of cross-country skis.
Oh,
so,
God.
did not work out. And finally, Queen frontman Adam Lambert releasing a solo song called Wet Dream. Lambert says the song is about blowing your load while you sleep, which is what we all expected.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's Hollywood Trash.
All right, thank you, Steve. Let's see if somebody knows the answer to today's lesson question. And we want to know, who was I pounding after I was done pounding the Pete? 215-263 WMMR. We'll go to Brian, see if we know the answer. Hey, Brian.
I'm on the radio.
Yes. You're so happy. What's the answer, Brian?
Is it Pete?
No, it wasn't Pete.
It was
after Pete.
AP.
All right, AP. All right. Well, call if you know the answer. Call right now. 215-263-WMMR. That is the number. We'll circle back, see if we can get a winner. But in the meantime, we need to expand your knowledge about the world of music, dear friends, and we do it via a segment called Music News.
Now, Preston and Steve's Music News on 93.3 WMMR.
Play you. All right, brought to you this morning by 80 Moyer Lumber, trusted expert since 1939. 80 Moyer Lumber, your professional source for decks, windows, doors, kitchens, millwork, and more. Visit them on the web at admoyer.com. I actually have a bunch of things to mention today. Stain and Breaking Benjamin are set to co-headline a tour that kicks off in Burgettstown, Pennsylvania on September 10th. I don't have any dates in our area. I have a feeling that Daughtry will be in the area down the road, and I'm not sure if that will be with, Daughtry is listed as direct support for this, by the way. So tickets go on sale Friday, March 15th, and we'll see if they announce any other dates. But I have a feeling that's going to happen. Sting, however, is set to launch his 3.0 tour this fall with 2 shows scheduled for most stops, and it kicks off September 17th in Detroit. He will be performing on September 30th at the Met. And Sting's band includes Dominic Miller and Chris Maas. Tickets will go on sale this Friday, March 15th, so you never know. Maybe we'll talk to him, our good buddy Gordo.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We hit it off.
We did.
By the time we left, and he asked for our number.
Yep.
And just in case he wanted to give us a call.
So you never know.
You know. And he doesn't do that with everyone.
Nope. John Fogerty continues his celebration tour with summer concerts kicking off June 2nd, and George Thorogood and the Destroyers are touring with him. They will be playing June 7th at Freedom Mortgage Pavilion, and then the day after that, they're headed to Scranton for the Pavilion at Montage Mountain.
Oh, we know it well.
Yeah, Thorogood commented on his longtime friend and said, celebrating the music of John Fogerty at the same time we celebrate our 50th anniversary is just as good as it can get. I'm looking forward to being out there.
I didn't realize they were buds.
With my friend John. Yep. Bon Jovi's Always video joins the YouTube Billions Club. The band posted a clip online thanking fans for watching it. The song was on 1994's Best of compilation, Crossroad, and was originally written for the film Romeo's Bleeding, but the band changed their minds after they saw the film. Always was a top 5 international hit. It was number 2 on the U.S. Billboard charts and number 1 in Canada. And it's not their first time in the club. The videos for It's My Life, Living on a Prayer, have also received 1 billion plays on YouTube.
I wonder what made them change their mind after seeing the movie Romeo is Bleeding.
Yeah, I never saw it.
It's a Gary Oldman movie, is it not?
Don't know. I remember the title, but I'm not familiar with the movie.
Have you guys seen the trailer for the Bon Jovi documentary?
No.
It's called Thank You, Good Night, and it's going to be on Hulu in April, and it looks really good. Steve, it basically looks like an extended Behind the Music. The VH1.
And apparently, from what we understand, this is blemishes and all.
Yeah, and Richie's in it, and he talks about not being in the band and maybe coming back into the band, and one of Richie's lines in it is, so are we telling the truth in this thing or not? And I really like Richie a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
I was at American Dream, that big mall with the indoor amusement park and all of that, and they have these huge...
in the Mall of America?
No, I believe it's called American Dream. It's in North Jersey. It's by it's by the stadium out there. It has
gigantic.
like roller coasters and all kinds of games. But they had these huge video screens throughout the mall, and they were pushing this big time.
Really?
And it was him. It was kind of like.
Are you greeted by Richie Sambora as you come in?
No, but no, you're greeted by John.
Really?
And he does talk a little bit. Like he kind of gives an insight to it. He does talk a little bit about Richie Sambora and all that.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward.
I think I want to see it then. Yeah.
This was sad news to see. Eric Carmen, former lead vocalist of the Raspberries and the singer of the song All By Myself, amongst other big hits, was passed away. He was 74 years old. Post on his website says, our sweet, loving, and talented Eric passed away in his sleep over the weekend. It brought him great joy to know that for decades his music touched so many people, and his legacy will be lasting. No cause of death
too young
was given. He was born in Cleveland. He was a frontman for a 1970s pop rock group called the Raspberries. Carmen wrote on his website bio, we became immensely popular by going completely against the grain in 1970. Prog rock was in, FM radio clutched it to its bosom. I hated it. I love the Beatles, the Who, the Byrds, the Stones, the Beach Boys, the Small Faces. I love the bands who could write. And he could write. He left the band in 1975 and built a solo career on knockout ballads such as All By Myself, later belted to legendary heights by Celine Dion. And, of course, he had a huge hit with Hungry Eyes.
Yeah, we have some clips if you want.
Provided the steamy soundtrack backdrop for an intensifying love between Johnny and Baby.
That's right.
In Dirty Dancing. Another of Carmen's most memorable hits was written for a movie soundtrack that he co-wrote, and that was Almost Paradise, the love theme from the movie Footloose, which he performed, which was performed by Mike Reno and Ann Wilson.
I remember it well, yeah.
Yeah. The song earned him his sole Grammy nomination when the soundtrack competed for Best Album Original Score written for a motion picture. So, yeah, this was
huge.
This was a huge hit.
The hungriest of eyes.
Yeah. You got to let it get to the chorus.
Yeah.
I still like this song.
It's a good song.
I still like this song. Absolutely.
All By Myself to me was
cue that up, Marissa.
A little slower.
It is. But it is a wallow in your.
Yeah. If you had just broken, the song was used in Guardians.
No.
We have a clip if you want.
Here, Marissa, if you would cue that up, please. Go all the way up or go all the way. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Great song.
The Raspberries.
I forgot about this. That's wow. Yeah, I love this. This is AM radio gold.
Oh God, yeah.
Great song.
Made Star-Lord's mixtape.
Yeah.
And Hungry Eyes was in Dirty Dancing was this one, right? Where they
Yes.
and
Where they're
Penny
moving,
was behind them behind.
It's your
Baby.
second favorite movie, right? Titanic and then Dirty Dancing.
First it was Dirty Dancing, then Titanic came along, and I think it's probably both.
Best of if Patrick Swayze had played Jack in Titanic, you would have been sad.
You know what though? I think I loved Patrick Swayze more than Leonardo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, in all, 13 of Eric Carmen's songs had a place on the charts. So
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, 74 years old, Eric Carmen. Then we had another passing, Carl Wallinger of the Welshborn musician, composer, and frontman for World Party.
I was a big fan.
Passed away. He was 66. He died on Sunday. No cause of death was given. Gifted songwriter. He penned songs such as World Party, Ship of Fools, Put the Message in the Box, and Is It Like Today, and She's the One, which was covered by Robbie Williams in 1999. He began his musical career as a keyboard player with various bands before a job in music publishing, and he also had a brief stint as the musical director of the Rocky Horror Show.
He's a good.
So I assume that means live, not Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Good songwriter.
Best known for his work as World Party, which he formed in 1986 after leaving the Waterboys. He also worked on Sinead O'Connor's 1987 debut album, The Lion and the Cobra, as well. We have a little bit of Ship of Fools to play while we're talking about it. He had a brain aneurysm in February of 2001 that led him having suspend work for 5 years before going back to touring in 2006. But I don't know if his death was tied to that or not, because that was 20 years ago.
Were you familiar with the band at all, World Party?
I know this song.
Yeah.
I know Ship of Fools, and that's it.
You might know, Is It Like Today? It's like that sort of cadence. I don't know for the full lyrics, but I bet you might know that were you to hear it. And were I to convince you, you'd heard it.
Well, I know a song that you'll know, Preston. It's Fisherman's Blues. I don't know if we have it in the system or not, but it was in, it's by the Waterboys, and it's in Good Will Hunting soundtrack. And you would recognize it because you've seen that movie so many times.
Okay. He's survived by his wife, Susie, his son, Louis, and daughter, Nancy, and 2 grandchildren. Yeah, absolutely.
Sad.
Let's stay on the death
death train.
Let's stay
line here a
sad.
bit. In April, 7 months after the death of Jimmy Buffett, some of music's biggest names will gather to honor his memory and spirit. The aptly named Keep the Party Going, a tribute to Jimmy Buffett, will commandeer the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles on April 11th with an overstuffed marquee of artists.
It's pretty wild.
Paul McCartney, The Eagles, John Bon Jovi, Zach Brown, Jackson Brown, Brandy Carlisle, Kenny Chesney, Eric Church, Sheryl Crow, Jack Johnson, Caroline Jones, Mac McNally, Jake Owen, Pitbull, a bunch of people, the Coral Reefer Band, and other guests. Tickets for the show will go on sale 1 o'clock this Friday. American Express card holders have access to pre-sale from 10 a.m. Wednesday through 10 p.m. Thursday.
That's a hell of a bill. Paul McCartney?
Yeah. I think he was on that last album.
Yeah.
The My Gummy just kicked in or something like that, or is the name of the song? Yeah, so he was. He and Jimmy were friends.
I didn't realize they were that close.
Yeah, there was a story, I recounted it on the air, when Jimmy gave him a guitar or something like that. When Paul
I don't
needed
have any
one
guitars.
or something. Paul was out of town. He was visiting somewhere else, and he borrowed Jimmy's guitar, something like that. So they had
That's nice.
They had a pretty good relationship.
It's a hell of a lineup.
And the last thing I wanted to mention is the long-awaited sequel to legendary mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap is now in production, almost 40 years to the date that the original film was released in March 1984. The feature is shooting in New Orleans with Rob Reiner directing and Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer all reprising their roles in the film. The production has also confirmed its cameos with Questlove and Trisha Yearwood joining the already announced lineup of Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Garth Brooks. Reiner first revealed that John, McCartney, and Brooks would be appearing during a November podcast interview.
You know, Rob Reiner is essential to that movie because he is the director, and the way that he captures everything, especially when they're doing their jazz experiment.
Oh, yes.
And the shot of the audience is just perfect. And again, that sort of, he catches that verite thing, or the limo driver complaining about the band, and the way he's being interviewed. It's just terrific.
Even the dynamic with the These Go to 11 scene, like that scene is made better because Rob Reiner is the straight man.
Right.
And Christopher Guest, the pause when he says, well, what if we made 10 the highest number and then just make that one higher?
It's just great. And then when he's explaining the sandwich, you can't, what is that? You can't eat that.
Yeah, just keep folding and it keeps breaking. And then look at this, there's a little guy in there. It's a brilliant movie.
It's just unbelievable.
So good things, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope.
For the sequel. It won't ruin the original, but
I don't think it will.
It'd be nice if it continued and even surpassed, which would be a pretty tough nut to crack. But you never know. It's Rob Reiner, and it's 3 really great performers with a huge cast. So that should be cool. I don't know when it's going to be coming out. We'll have to see. All right, let's see if we can indeed get a winner from the lesson question. Who was I pounding after I was done pounding the Pete? It is Kelly we're going to go to. Hi there, Kelly.
Hi.
All right, Kelly, when I was done pounding the Pete, who did I pound?
Mike.
Mike, yes. Well done, Kelly. Hang on.
Hi, Mike.
Going to give you a 4-pack of tickets for the 25th Annual Greater Philadelphia Boat Show this weekend, 15th through the 17th, Expo Center at Osh. You can visit phillyboatshow.com for more details. We are taking a break. When we return, wrapping up the show and the letter of the day for the Word of the Week prize. Stay with us. 93.3 WMMR. Wolfgang Fresh from his Oscar appearance on I'm Just Ken. And the song I'm All Right. Guy's talented, man.
Super talented.
Just incredible.
Super talented.
10:47 a.m. Tuesday morning, the Preston and Steve Show. Coming to a close on a nice looking day. Lots of sunshine. It's very bright out, and that's wonderful. Still pretty breezy, but warmer temperatures. High 65, 70 tomorrow, 73 on Thursday. And then by the time we get to Friday, we're looking at some possibly a little bit of rain here and there. Temperature 68 degrees. It's going to be kind of a cool weekend from what I understand, but enjoyable day. Yeah, not for us, man. Florida bound. Low 80s, low to mid 80s, I think.
That's pretty cool.
High temperatures. Yeah, we'll take it. I would like to thank Mark Summers.
Yay!
Stopping by this morning. Mark's live show, The Life and Slimes of Mark Summers, is doing way better than he thought it would.
It's got a bona fide hit.
Yeah, continues on at Stage 5 in New York City, New World Stages, Stage 5. And it was supposed to run for a few weeks, and now it's going through June 2nd. So we're very happy for our friend.
Do you know what they've done, though, which is very cool? They've padded out that part that deals with the actual Double Dare, and they have little mini game show segments.
They invite people to be a part of it.
Yeah.
What a great idea. And then we had comedian Joe Coy.
Hey!
And Joe is going to be coming to the Wells Fargo Center on March 22nd for a show. So it was nice to spend some time chatting with him. Pierre Robert is here. Hey, man.
Well, hi there.
Nice to see you.
Yesterday, I recounted having dropped my phone in the toilet. And by the end of the program, it wasn't working so well.
Oh,
no.
But cause I thought they were waterproof these days.
They're like water resistant. They're not quite waterproof. There's a small difference or whatever. So if you get it out fast enough and you can dry it fast enough, sometimes you have a shot, but sometimes not so
but
much.
there's people that take like underwater pictures.
You can.
What the hell was that?
So I turned up the fader.
Oh.
It was very dramatic. So what's not working properly on it?
Well, it's now fixed. I have to acknowledge you, Steve, again. You turned me onto this great store in Manayunk. It's called Mac Techs. And these two guys, Rob and Matt, right on Main Street, they can fix any iPad, computer, laptop, iPhone. And I brought it in there, and he goes, and of course, I had just been in there on Friday with another issue. I had broken the screen. What are you laughing at? The screen had broken on Friday. I don't know. I dropped it or something. I don't know. And so he had just fixed that on Friday and go, I'm back. And they go, should we get a couch for you here?
Yeah.
Because you have to drop it and then take a while. But he said, where will you be? I guess, never mind, I know. I'll come knock on your car window and wake you up. Because I was just taking a nap right on Main Street, both Friday. And he got, 5 minutes and come on in and get it.
It's great.
These guys are amazing.
All fixed. Yeah, they are terrific.
Matt and Rob, here's to you guys.
That's service, brother.
Yeah.
That service with a smile, no less.
Right? It's like a drive-in.
Yeah, right.
He didn't bring the phone, but he did, because I had to go in and pay. But he knocked on the window. Hey, how you doing? He goes, I knew you'd be sleeping here. Because I'd slept there a couple of years ago when I brought one there. And then
I sleep here all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice spots right on Main Street. You just pull in and just have a little nappy, and then Matt or Rob will come and wake you up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I think it's
got your phone working. Excellent. All right, well, I need to do this before we do our letter of the day because it's set up this way. We are going to give away our Tattoos Day prize, $350 gift certificate to William Morgan of Paulsboro, New Jersey. And William's going to get $350 gift certificate to Floating World Tattoo and Piercing, 1729 South Street. And you can check out their artwork samples on their website or on Instagram at Floating World Tattoos. And now we should do the letter.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter.
And the Preston and Steve Show is brought to you today by the letter
H is in holistic.
All right, we're going to be giving away some tickets. It's a concert ticket trifecta. A pair of tickets to the MMRBQ, September 21st, FM Pavilion. Daryl Hall and Elvis Costello, July 10th at the Man. And then to the concert that Pierre announced yesterday, Weezer they're playing the Blue Album in full September 13th at the Wells Fargo Center with the Flaming Lips and Dinosaur Jr.
Wow.
Tickets are on sale now for MMRBQ, and the other shows go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. via Ticketmaster. Go to WMMR.com for information and another chance to win tickets from each of those shows. What do you have on your program today, Sta?
Well, I have another pair of those Weezer tickets to give away. I've got them all this week, and as you mentioned, it'll go on sale Friday. And then we've also announced, there's so many shows coming, Sting, who was, by the way, just in town last Friday and Saturday night playing with the Philadelphia Orchestra at the Kimmel Center. It wasn't talked about a lot, but or promoted a lot, but it was full houses both nights with Sting and the orchestra. Sting will be back This time, he'll be at the Met, 2 shows, September 30th and October 1st. So I've got a pair of tickets for that to give away. Plus workforce blocks of Breaking Benjamin. His Ben was 46 on Sunday. Brent will have tickets to give away for that upcoming show in Atlantic City. We've got Clash Blocks and ZZ Top. It's Double Shot Tuesday. On top of it all, Quacko Cuckoo.
Wow.
Quacko Cuckoo.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I want to thank our sponsors, Preston and Steve Show, brought to you by Acme Markets, fresh foods, local flavors. Also brought to you by Meineke Car Care. You won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot. And also brought to you by Duncan. The Preston and Steve Show runs on Duncan. Tomorrow is a Wednesday Secret Text word. We'll do Fox Good Day, and we will have actor Judge Reinhold on the show.
Yes.
As well. So we have a bunch to get to. That's it. We're done. Rage on and have a great day. And of course, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.